I have like all like chapters like 31 to 33, whatever we're at now, have just blended. They're all in the same chapter. I don't know which one it is.
Some people have been saying this arc's been dragging, but either way, um, Axel, okay, did want me to say a couple things here. I did start the stream back up, and we'll see if that actually worked, and if my computer doesn't crash this time. But it seems like it's live anyways, so I'll believe it for now. So Axel wanted me to read some things here really quick. So this is hey, let me see what he wanted me to this one. Okay, well, yeah, okay.
So the same as there's something that we were talking about too. It was okay. That was about Sakura power ups. Okay, that we'll say that because that's not even related to this whatsoever. That was a rewrite topic.
Yeah, Twilight and then Santa Claus Titan. Oh yeah, because Attacking Titan from last time. Well, Axel, I don't know why you wanted me to read all that, but I did. Pretty sure I read that last time. But... Well, Kamui is Aaron Annie's stepson then in this rewrite from last time?
Well, not in that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we answered your question, Axel. Thumbs up. And if you want your question read, you can join the Discord.
Speaking of Discord, I'm going to say this as fake as possible, but Oodie, I learned when you were gone that we are even more special to Miss Anne than I ever realized.
Oh.
We are officially her favorites. We have proof.
Well, you know, I'm missing a little context here to understand the funny part, but I'll take it.
I'll let Miss Anne explain herself.
Oh, okay. I just was saying this is my alt account that I usually use for Boruto stuff. So like all the translation credits in the Boruto Discord go to this account. All of the like the random Boruto servers that people are like, oh, please join my server. It's on this account. I'm like in a few Japanese servers as well on this account. And like my other account is my personal account, so I don't like join anything from that account except for you guys' server because I actually wanted to see the notifications.
Well, now that Miss Anne has confessed her love live on stream.
Oh, no.
All right. So I almost got into this because I was so impatient, but I waited just for you, Oodie. So, this isn't necessarily this isn't the way you should always look at things, but this is a way to view the topic that does technically apply, and it's basically the process of elimination. So, let's look at Sarda for a moment. Because your options are either going to be both are healed, neither are healed, or only one is healed.
Okay, so getting back to the topic.
Let's talk about Sarda being healed or not healed for a moment. Well, actually, real quick, what's first? Which do you prefer the most? One healed, two healed, or no healed?
I prefer one healed for every reason we've mentioned. Specifically, just coincidentally, I think that independent of each other, Inojin does deserve to be healed. Sarda, it sounds bad to say she doesn't deserve to be healed, but I think there should be consequences for her doing her actions for the reason I've described. Likewise, I think one should be healed and not the other for Himawari reasons as well as just general arc reasons of there should be a consequence. And also, it progresses Sarda, whereas it only takes away from Inojin.
We'll recap some of the stuff you said earlier, but first, let's let Miss Anne answer.
I think the opposite, because Sarda's like kind of payoff thing was Boruto freaking out. And then if she's fine, then Boruto will just be like, oh, then I don't have to like freak out so much because Himawari can heal her. But like
okay, Kamui, you were right.
Yeah,
the only thing she cares about is romance.
Well, that's my main interest in the show. But before I go into like I guess the reason that I think that versus like Sarda's I do think it could still, the only reason I think I would still be like Sarda's eye should be damaged is because the Hidari fight is coming up, and I think she's going to get like, she needs some sort of, if her eye was damaged, if they wake up Sasuke would care enough about her to do something about that.
Well,
so
let me throw this at you. Right now, assuming that her eye is just peachy keen, it's fresh as can be. You know, it's like a raspberry up there with how fresh it is.
Well, I don't want it to be fresh. I want her to have blindness, by the way.
Okay, well, assuming that she can use her ability, either Hidari needs to have a counter going into the fight, or it's not a fight. That's just the problem with the way Yukimoto wrote this at this point.
The other thing is, too, because the biggest counter for Hidari right now is Boruto's sword, because Hidari can use it. But I think, like, in terms of Sarada, we still haven't seen her other eye ability yet, so that's another reason I want that eye ability to, like, be not as usable or, like, temporarily out of being able to use, because I want to see what her other eye ability is. And I also think...
Well, that means your answer is nobody, because when we said the healed thing, we were saying that, like, she has some consequence to what happened to her. She's just not all peaches and daisies like it never happened. So you are choosing that they both have consequences then.
I guess, like, I want there to be a consequence, but I don't necessarily want, like, it to just be, like, gone, I guess, if that makes sense, because then that would invalidate Imogen being completely healed if he's healed.
Yeah, we're not saying that her eye did explode for this.
I think they both have to have similar consequences either way, so you can't really say, like, one is fine and the other is not. I mean, I guess because Sarada's eyes are a bit more special, but,
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
In that case, it would be that the damage is fine for both, but the Mangekyo blindness isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, which would
and again, it works because, especially regardless of Sarada's other Mangekyo eye, if we can just have Sarada not use her Mangekyo against Hidari for like a week or whatever, that could also just make a more interesting fight in general.
I also wanted to say that, real quick, as far as the romance part goes, I can easily spin this around to where her not being healed enhances the romance. Okay, Boruto.
No, definitely,
instead of just being like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about Sarada. Now he has to worry about Sarada, and he's motivated to get stronger so that Sarada doesn't have her eyes explode. That brings them together. So you can easily just spin it through the other eye.
Maybe Boruto saw Sarada as ugly because of all the icky blood pouring down her gross face.
He never wants to see
if that was
again.
The case, why did he touch it? Anyway.
To wipe it off.
Yeah, Kamui, that's what he meant when he never wanted this to happen again.
Yeah.
Bruh.
But on the other thing,
but I was just gonna say, like, tying into the...
Well, what are
you going to read?
You're just gonna talk.
Okay, I'll go real quick. So the only thing about the damage idea is, what is the quote-unquote physical damage to Sarada's eyes? Because we keep memeing it exploded, but, like, if it just bled a lot, then what is Himawari healing? Really?
Well, she healed the blood vessels, so I don't know what...
Well, what is that doing for that? You know, like, is that really doing anything, or is that useless? You know what I mean? Like, depends on... That would still, again, depends on what happened. What is the explanation going to be? Because the damage idea only works if there's actual damage worth healing. Otherwise, who cares?
Because it's also important to consider that the Mangekyo's always bled and never needed someone else to heal it. And in the fact, when we did have someone there to heal it, such as Karin, it didn't change anything. Sasuke still went just as blind, just as quickly.
You know, like, Sasuke collapsed into his knees from overuse. So even though it's not 100% the same, it's 95% the same. You know.
Yeah.
I do think I definitely want her to keep the blindness at the very least.
Yeah,
and then that
agree.
And it led to Boruto being like, "Oh, you can't see anything. Like, let me help you." Because, like, the thing I was gonna say earlier is the whole MV, like the music video. I keep on calling it a movie video. Don't know why I can't register that word in my brain, but yeah, like, if you watched that, I don't know if you guys watched it or not. I also spent all of yesterday writing. Oh, darn. Okay.
We were going to
I spent all of yesterday.
You said apparently is.
Yeah, I wrote it down as a stream topic for us to react to.
Okay. It's really good, but it focuses, like, super heavily on Boruto and Sarada, and versus, like, Hidari, and all of, like, the thematic stuff that's going on in the background when you understand the lyrics and, like, why certain things were paired with the lyrics, which I did a whole video on as well. That's, like, only 30 minutes long, so it's not that bad. It's not another 2-hour feature, but
yeah, but it's not a 2-minute music video.
Well, to be fair, Oodie,
We have a minute and
I
30
mean, her
seconds.
analysis rate is very similar to our Daiko react rate,
Not-
except
Yeah.
ours is worse.
By
It's
the way, Miss
one
Ann, I
more
love how you
part.
did the exact same thing that I do, to where I'm like, oh, actually, it wasn't that long. It was this long, when it only makes the other person's point stronger.
Yeah, but like, so basically, what was going on is like it was really heavily focused around Boruto and Sarda, and like how like they kind of are both figuring out their own path within, like, without letting the other, like, the role of, because like, okay, so like um Boruto obviously lost Sasuke, and that's when he starts having to fill Sasuke's shoes as like the shadow protector of the village, and somebody who, like, he starts to have to like be the sole one to fulfill that promise he made to Sarada as kids. And then Sarada, in terms of hers changes because she's now defining the role of Hokage for herself while still using Naruto as a role model. But like, obviously when she unlocks her Mangekyo, she realizes she can't be exactly like Naruto, and she has to like shift away from fully filling Naruto's like ideals as Hokage and come up with like what it means for herself to be Hokage, because she is a complex person that can't just follow and fill Naruto's shoes. And same thing with Mitsuki, like how he went his, like, I even shouted out Oodie for false perfections, because it's like, yeah, they're false perceptions, they're false perfections, if you will be broken,
Wait,
because
did you
of
do
like
that in the video?
I do.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and I linked your channel as well for people if they're curious. But
That's funny.
I love that.
but yeah, so like where, because there's this line about like there being like quote unquote correct answers, where it's the word sekai, which is like the correct answer, and then the furigana is kotae, which means like just one answer. Where it's talking about how like society like imposes these correct answers on you and tells you like to go this way, but then you start like wondering, is this really correct? And that's when they show like Mitsuki with Kawaki and like all this kind of thing, and Boruto and Sarada, like, you know, going towards their goals, like climbing a staircase towards their goals and like figuring out what that role means for them. So I guess in that sense, like, because that is like kind of the theme of whatever, this is like Boruto's time to, in the end they show the hug as well. So like this is Boruto's like kind of starting, the Hidari arc might be his starting of understanding of like either romantic feelings for Sarada, or like how he goes about like protecting her as well, especially during the Hidari fight, because I feel like something else is going to happen in that respect, and something just happened to where he was like, oh my gosh, Sarada is like passing out, like what do I do? Because she hasn't actually, like, he succeeded at saving her from damage like 90% of the time so far. So what if something actually does happen to her? Like
I mean, to be
what
fair, something
would
did happen, and Boruto was helpless. It was Himawari who healed it. And regardless if she is healed or not, she did pass out from damage. That's not
well, yeah,
changed.
but like, I mean, like, if there's no payoff here, this would be the moment where he realizes, to like further connecting to the romance point earlier, that he can't necessarily protect her from everything, because there is situations that she's going to get into
Well, that should
herself
happen
that,
regardless if she's healed or not. It's the same thing for Naruto side-eyeing Kawaki, not necessarily, but like looking at Kawaki a different way after the code arc. Doesn't matter that Boruto came back to life. Kawaki tried to kill Boruto, and he did successfully do so, technically. Just Momoshiki either revived or resuscitated him, depending on the day of the week. But ignoring that,
Yeah.
it's Naruto,
Well,
you know, the weakness in his voice as it was happening, that left an impact regardless if Boruto comes back to life or not.
yeah.
yeah. Something that Miss Ann said earlier about the music video, though, can just work really well with what Oodie was saying earlier about Sarada wanting to be a Hokage like Naruto, and so like in this case, she would not do Shikamaru's plan fully to a T, and she tried to save the villagers and do the plan, and she can't. And you could write it to where Naruto can do that because he's Naruto, and Naruto has Naruto things that make him Naruto. So, for example, the most superficial thing of all time, Shadow Clone Jutsu. He can look to the left and the right at the same time because he's the Shadow Clone guy. Sarada's not Naruto, doesn't have Shadow Clones. So she can't do things like Naruto. She has to do things her own way. In this case, she tried to be Naruto. Failed because she's not
Oh
Naruto.
yeah.
So next time, she needs to do it in a Sarada way. She has to figure out what that Sarada way is so that she can both do the plan and save all villagers. You can write it that way, and that does work.
Which also matters for the Sarada identity thing, especially versus Hidari, which is likely the next arc.
Exactly, because if they're gonna actually tie, especially, to this day, I still think they should have addressed this in the Sand mission arc. But if they're gonna do it, the best time to return to Hidari's question of "Who are you, Sarada?" if it's not going to be when she has her identity moment previously, then it can be in the rematch against Hidari. They can call back to it. And if they tie everything she's learned, no, obviously this is a certain extent of how much analysis are we making up for the story that Ikimoto never intended? I don't know, but assuming Ikimoto's doing all of that, this can be where Sarada puts together everything she's learned in each of the arcs up until now and gives them an answer the second time around. They can write it that way, and that does work. It works with the music video too, even. So there's that as well.
Well, I think that's actually the theme of Two Blue Vortex. Like, it's been a theme of Boruto since the beginning, is like finding your own path for the future. Because
I mean, I have like 3 different videos that I haven't released from like 3 years ago going over this. Well, some of them I did release, but
as Vasant was saying.
All right. Well, I mean, if he already gets the point, then I don't need to elaborate.
Okay. Sure. So I guess going back a little bit, I did want to add something, from before my computer crashed. So Inojin is fighting to make this new fate, or new future, new destiny, whatever you want to call it. That's different from what he was doing before. There was a change in Inojin from before, because he was doing this whole thing to protect Himawari this whole time. So what changed from the beginning of the Mamushi invasion to now? He already developed the jutsu. He's been using the jutsu, doing whatever Koji says, minus the Kobu thing, but ignoring that. He's been fighting against Mamushi the whole time. It's just now that we're at the worst case scenario, he's realized something. That's not just like an, plot thing to figure out conveniently at this moment to work my way out of it. There's narrative there for Inojin's decision to do something new. He doesn't just want to save Himawari, because he's been wanting that this whole time. Nothing changed there. What changed was his direction to get out of it. Rather than a sacrifice, it's not that he's not willing to not make a sacrifice anymore, but he's fighting for a future to where he doesn't have to make a sacrifice.
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
and I will, just so that we're not harping on this one point for all stream, I will say, I think for starter, we all agree she should have some consequences. Just so, again, this sounds bad, but, what did she do to earn not being blind? Nothing.
Yeah.
If Sasuke doesn't have a curse mark, or even with a curse mark, did Sasuke earn not being paralyzed when he used more chakra than he's able to? No. So he stays out of the fight. Does he earn it? Did Sarada do anything to earn it? No. So why should she be unblinded? So we all agree she shouldn't be blinded.
Let's also not pretend.
It's really both arguments. He both earned it, and at the same time, it is a sacrifice. Fully understandable to honor the sacrifice and keep it a sacrifice and not just willy-nilly heal him. So I feel like both are fair, and I personally wouldn't complain about either. I understand both sides.
Let's also not pretend like there aren't fake outs and every other arc in Naruto. We were mentioning the most infamous one with the 8 Gate Sky example earlier, but freaking Land of Waves, the very first arc of Naruto, they do it with Sasuke. They do it with Neji and Choji and the end of part 1. They're doing it everywhere, bro.
To be fair, Neji and Choji weren't fake outs; they were retcons.
Yeah.
Choji was dead. As dead as it gets.
Yeah, but you get.
He was supposed to kill off Choji, and then it didn't happen because of I don't remember what happened, but somebody liked him too much or something, so I brought him back.
We agree.
Yeah.
We've had videos going over this
multiple times.
The best rewrite of all time. Well, okay. At this point, it's top 3. I don't know which is the best. But one of the best rewrites of all time is the Choji stays dead rewrite.
Yeah. But getting back to the point of all this, which we still haven't done, Kamui. None of this conversation for the past hour has happened.
And I was going to bring that up, so...
Well, to be fair, I'm glad we did it, because now we don't have to redo it in the future, even though I want to do it with guests.
On this, because, I have to do the other half of my
I know. This is quick. And to be fair, Miss Anne, the only reason we're talking about this, we plan to do like a slew of topics. We've only done this single one. We plan to do this before you join. It's just been this one topic.
Wait, for like 3 hours? You've been just doing this?
Basically,
wait, never mind.
Yes.
Dang.
So, but again, we don't have to redo it in the future, even though it would have been nice to do with other guests. We could at least ask them their opinions, though, but still. So getting to the point, there's multiple directions they could go. We've already mentioned some of them, arguably the best. So depending on whether Inojin is or isn't blind, it matters for whether he is or isn't bald. And there's 4 different routes we can go here. We already mentioned one to where he isn't blind and isn't bald. Boruto's gonna say that line. There's the hater in me that, okay, if Ikimoto's gonna say screw you and just have Sarada be completely fine and Inojin be blind, he's ruined Inojin for me. He might as well go bald as well. I want him to be screw it. He can poop his pants in the same chapter for all I care. I'm done with him.
That's the least likely one, in my opinion.
Yeah, so at that point, he can be bald and pathetic. And screw it. He can die after he goes bald for all I care. Have a heart attack. Screw it. But that's if they ruin Inojin for me. And that's just the hater in me. There's other options. For example, if Inojin doesn't go blind, it could be low-key, unironically, really cool narratively if he does go bald because of Himawari crying. Because of the whole Japanese nuance of the change in the character thing. This could be, rather than Boruto shaving him, maybe Inojin's shaving his own head, as of Boruto's idea, because of this like change in self and conviction and whatever. And this is his testament. And if anything, this is like his quote-unquote consequence or whatever.
Okay, I got an idea, though. If you're going to tie in the Boruto line, I got an idea. So Inojin thinks back to what Boruto said, and then Inojin's like, I made Himawari cry. I'll shave my own in.
Like, it sounds ridiculous, but low-key, I think that if it's written correctly, it's actually pretty good. Like, it's kind of similar to the Kawaki base thing that we were mentioning earlier, how Boruto wanted Kawaki to do it at first. But then over time, Kawaki realized this is something he wants to do because it's the right thing to do anyways. It's something that he would have done regardless of Boruto.
It's just a little bit funnier.
I think you guys are taking the shave your head bald line too literally, because it's the same type of like thing that happens, I think, in the US where like a dad will say like to the daughter's boyfriend, like, I'm gonna shoot you if you do anything to her. Like, it's not necessarily literal.
Well, welcome to the Walkie Talkie podcast. Is this your first time?
So Miss Anne, we completely agree, but that doesn't mean we can't make it literal and have it be.
No, you totally can. I just wanted to make sure you knew or like weren't confused, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like it can get across the seriousness of like the Hindu monks or whatever. They have the seriousness of their dedication to their path as well. It could be similar to that with Inojin. Could make Inojin's character even cooler. Also, I think for the audience, they'd be more willing to accept Inojin not being blind if the consequence here or whatever is that he does shave his head. I think people would be more willing to accept that. Likewise, I think that if Inojin if Sarada goes blind, people are more willing to accept Inojin not going blind. If both people are blind, I think that's just bad. That's too dark. Really. If both people are saved, then yeah, there's no consequences. So yeah, someone probably should go blind. But yeah, just thoughts on all those.
It also just makes Himawari look useless.
Yeah, that as well.
We don't need to start that debate or something.
Yeah. The Himawari fans will attack you. I haven't gotten attacked by Himawari fans yet, thankfully.
Well, that's because they're focused on the Himawari fans.
Don't hold your breath. But of all these different options, there's multiple ones we could go with. What do you think would be best? Is it still the one we said earlier? Oh, okay. Bye, Kamui.
I think.
Yes, Miss Anne?
Where did Kamui go? I think it would be Inojin is healed and then gets the Boruto payoff, where Boruto acknowledges that he's a decent enough person for his little sister, and then Sarada is like healed to the point that she can open her eye and like it's okay, but like either something's messed up with her ability and she definitely needs to like continue going blind. I also, as you were talking about the blindness, I was thinking of another thing too, because in my girl shoujo tropes analysis thing, there was a point where I was talking about how girl number 2 usually has the opportunity to make girl number 1 jealous, like through the show, and that's probably why Boruto hasn't called Sumire by name yet, because they're saving that for when he's in front of Sarada as well, so Sarada can hear it and be like, oh, something, there was like a development between them while I wasn't paying attention. But if she's blind, she can also miss-see things, and that can really easily like lend itself to like her feeling like sad, like if Sumire gets too like close to Boruto's face or something, it'll look like they're doing something that they're not,
Oh my
or
god,
whatever.
the funniest thing ever. What if like Boruto? This doesn't make any sense in the current timeline, but just bear with it for a moment. What if like Boruto like hugs Hinata and she thinks it's Sumire and she gets all upset?
Well, like I think it's not gonna be like her getting upset. It's more just gonna be her like thinking that she's going to lose, because part of girl number 1 is that she doesn't have any confidence in herself, in comparison to girl number 2, who is the one that's like usually the more like trying to put on like physical affection levels of stuff, whereas Sarada is like Sarada gets physical attention from Boruto, and she also gives it because of her being a childhood friend. So I don't think Ikemoto is going to use that part of the trope, but usually girl number 2 is like super clingy. So like
So far,
I was just
Sarada's the only
watching.
one who's been touchy with Boruto. So.
Well, yeah, but she also didn't do that out of like trying to be like flirty about it, like because girl number 2 usually will go up and like cling to his arm or be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's
hi,
like
how are you,
in
like
the
totally
written
just
exam when she like hugged Sasuke. If you remember that.
yeah. Yeah. So like I don't think that's one of the things that I took out of my shoujo tropes analysis, because I initially did it with Boruto in mind, and then I took all the Boruto stuff out because I was like, people are gonna get upset and angry, and I might as well just like let them make their own connections and come at it from a completely objective perspective. So I took it out, but I was like talking about how that was one of the things that I appreciated Ikemoto didn't do, was make Sumire super clingy and annoying and just like constantly all over Boruto. Literally, I was looking for a new anime to watch, and I watched episode 1 of this one show, and it was like immediately girl number 2, new transfer student introduced. She goes and like is like, oh hi guy number 1, I'm a new transfer student, show me around, be my friend, and then like clings to his arm and walks off, and I was like, I can't watch this show. But anyway, sorry, that was a long side tangent.
Well, I do think there's a lot
But that's
of
okay.
narrative stuff they could do with the blindness as well. They did a lot of narrative blind quote-unquote stuff in part 1 as well, like how Sasuke was blind to the idea that at the very end he was doing the exact same thing as what Madara or Kaguya was doing. Like he's not physically blind there, but he's narratively blind to what he's doing. His actions contradictory, basically. But so they could also do that with Sarada and or Inojin here, or reward them by not being blind, where Inojin, he can see clearly, not just physically, but metaphorically, whereas Sarada, she followed Naruto's path, and she did that almost like with a blind trust, and in the end, following Naruto's path just got her burned. It hurt her. She needs to find her own path, a different path, not just the path of the previous Hokage. Naruto, in a way, wasn't fully correct. It didn't all turn out okay, like it did for Naruto with this time with Sarada. There was a permanent consequence towards following that path. She needs to find a new answer. It's the fun ideas they can go with.
I think that's a really good idea, especially because the music video lent itself so much to that, and that's what Baku is about it's like establish, you don't just run blindly towards your dreams. You have to figure out like there's a moment where everything changes and you start like feeling anxiety about like whether or not this is really the right thing, and then like going and finding your own path. So I think they use that song specifically for a purpose, and I also think that that definitely could lend itself to exactly what you just talked about.
Who created the music video, the part?
Shonen Jump.
Okay. So they should reasonably probably have some level of, well, hopefully some level of idea on what Ikimoto's trying to write.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's a manga music video. They've made a lot of these. You've seen some of them before. But they're just pretty cool stuff. What I will say is I did have one more thing. So first of all, when you consider the goal of the arc in a way, okay, we're gonna get into this in a minute, because that's another thing. When you get to consider the goal, consequences are interesting because it's Mamushi attacking the village, and the villagers are trying to defend themselves. The end result is to cause minimal harm and or don't have any sacrifices. You're not going out of your way to achieve something or change something. It's just to defend what you already have. So in a way, it'd be kind of weird if there were consequences in a way. Maybe you guys would disagree. I'm probably wording this in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, the way you're wording it, I don't think I agree, but it might be.
But it's just
I don't see why that matters. The
different
way you're
from
wording.
like another scenario. Because like, so the consequence of Mamushi's invasion is Inojin having physical trauma. That sounds weird. That doesn't really make sense.
I mean, I see what you're trying to say, but at the same time, it's like, see, okay, my go-to example here is gonna be something you're gonna say like, "Oh, will of fire bad," but like the consequence of Orochimaru's invasion is his death,
Yeah, I figured you're gonna say that.
and that's not this like the point of it is just that it's more about how far Hiruzen was willing to go for the village, in this case, how far
Yeah.
Inojin's willing to go for Himawari slash the village, versus just the consequence of Mamushi invading is this person gets hurt. It's not really the point. So I think the way you phrase that is the problem is the way you phrased it, I think.
Well, because the goal is to protect in this case, and yes, it's the same for the Hiruzen case, I understand. It's just different to me. I was
What's the
thinking about it
difference?
in my mind earlier. I
Besides
forgot
one
the
villain
way I
being
wanted to
infinitely better
word
than
it.
the other.
It's like in Dragon Ball, they're fighting for like times of peace, and then they get to actually achieve those. Obviously, it's the same in Boruto, but it's like I'm thinking about it differently in Dragon Ball. I forgot
What
how I
about
was thinking
the
about it
Fourth War?
earlier.
They're fighting to, for peace, and before the Great Ninja War, and many people die.
Yeah, so they're fighting to achieve it, or sorry, to maintain it as opposed to achieve it here. It's
But
just,
technically,
different.
they are fighting to maintain it in the Fourth Great Ninja War. They already got
Oh,
it between the
but
nations.
not really, not really.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like the consequences should be the same here as opposed to elsewhere.
Well, no, I don't see what the difference between the Orochimaru. The village was in peace with itself before Orochimaru invaded.
Yeah, you're making the comparison. Just
If you're
don't
gonna
make
say,
the
oh, but
comparison.
there's tensions with other villages, I'm just gonna say, okay, there's tensions with the Shinju before Mamushi invaded. So what's the difference?
I understand you're saying what's the difference, but I feel like making comparison here just doesn't work in the same way, and I can't remember why.
So it's like Boro ruining Boruto. If you don't remember why,
No,
you just know what
no,
happened.
but I have actual reason. Well, to be fair, we had actual reason for that. We just forgot it.
Just don't remember what it was.
It's just like the trauma is Inojin's eyes, but why is that good in this case? Because he defended it, but that was the goal the whole time. Okay, I got it. Because they're not being rewarded. The only thing they get out of this is just trauma. So at the end of the day, there's just a loss. It's just a consequence. They don't gain anything. It's just about what they don't lose.
That's okay.
They
Okay.
get Kobu
This is
too.
the most superficial thing of all time. Inojin gained a new jutsu.
Okay, but technically, he already had that before the invasion.
But he didn't have the OP new version of his mind transfer jutsu. That was really just the mind transfer jutsu and nothing else.
I think a lot of what they would get out of this arc is like Kobu, the stuff with Kobu being like, oh, well, ninja are actually useful now. Boruto might not be as bad of a person as I thought he was. I maybe don't need to interrogate the Leaf so much because they're doing their job. And then,
I mean, that's on the Kobu side. I'm looking at
the only problem there, though, is that's not how Kobu left that conversation.
No, it's definitely not. But like, he might have been like done the thing where he's just like murmur, and then he's like actually internally not that dumb. But But the other thing would be like, and then Sarada is like, forced to find more of her own path, and then Iojin would get like some sort of payoff from Boruto and Himawari as well in terms of romance, because Himawari would be more inclined to take care of him if he was blind.
I do think a reward can't just be like their improved convictions and like the new identity things that they're reinstating about themselves. So if Sarada and Inojin walk away with a new mindset, I do think that at least narratively counts, even if it's not a tangible thing. They could say, aha, I got the champion belt. They might have had to say that, but they're still walking out of it. It's like Naruto and Konoha Crush. He's walking out of that with like a new mindset or a reinforced mindset, and I think that's enough.
I see what you're saying, the internal versus the external. I wasn't really counting that, especially if the external is taking away from the internal. If Inojin's blind, I don't care if he's willing to sacrifice himself to save, because he's not going to be able to do that twice. He's not going to be able to do it at all. So it doesn't even matter what his choice is.
Well, technically, he could do that again. It just wouldn't. He wouldn't have to sacrifice anything anymore. His already gone eyes just stay gone.
But it's like, okay, Mamushi attacked the village and they defended it. What do they get because of that? And I'm not going to let you say the Soul Thorn because we don't know anything about that yet. So, for example, Konoha Crush, Gaara changed. That was Naruto, the main character's reward for what he did fighting in that arc to achieve something. Rather than to save Sakura and Sasuke, because he did that. But I'm not going to count that as his reward because that's what he wanted to do anyways.
So we use the Jura, Hidari, and Sand Mission arcs to do the same thing. So what did they gain in the first arc? Himawari's power-up.
Well, hang on, because right? Ikimoto bad anyways. For the Pain arc, well, what did the village gain from defending the village against Pain? Because again, the goal isn't to minimize, it's to have no destruction at all. That'd be zero destruction for maximum minimization. If Pain crumbles a building, they lose something. They don't gain anything from that. It's like, oh, well, at least that's all he did. But they don't want him to attack in the first place. So, for the Pain invasion, they defended Pain long enough to where Pain doesn't leave to where Naruto shows up in time. And the reward there is at the end of the arc, everyone comes back to life because Naruto was there to change Pain. If the village doesn't defend against Pain, Pain just destroys the village and leaves, and then Naruto just doesn't do what he does to bring everyone back to life. So everyone just dies.
Well, then can't you just say the same thing about... I mean, I know it's only one person, but Inojin and his eyes being healed would be very applicable.
That could.
I mean, I know one is way more extremely better than the other, but it's the same concept.
I mean, I guess so, yeah. I think that would have
to heal his eyes.
Yeah, I think so. I think my problem... The weird thing there is that it happens so instantly. Not just back to back, but arguably, if you count my interpretation of Inojin saying "heal me" before, then we're getting the reward or the payoff before the consequence.
It's not exactly the same. I'll agree. Otherwise, it's not executed the same way. Because the other difference, again, they're fighting so that Naruto can save them, and then Naruto saving them resulted in something better than they ever could have expected. Whereas in this case, they were just backed into a corner. Inojin's like, Himawari, heal me after this, sacrifices himself, and then Himawari heals him. It's not the same.
Yeah. No, okay, no. I have a different one for the Pain. Screw the village come back to life. Since, again, that's how the village was beforehand. So technically, it's still a net loss for the village. They still lost the village, regardless of the villagers. So there's only trauma there. But you know what he does gain? It's not just defeating the villain, because I'm not going to count that, because they defeat Mamushi. I'm not going to count that. Conan changes. That comes back to benefit Naruto. That's his reward.
Well, I was also going to say, this one's kind of a gray area because of the waterfall of truth, but I was going to say, for Naruto's perspective, he gains acknowledgement from the village.
Yeah, but again, that's more
Naruto,
like
I know that's internal, but that's the most important internal thing he could ever ask for.
I know, but I'm looking like it at an external thing. I'm looking at something that will come back in the future to like actually be a reward, rather than something that feels rewarding.
I got one for you. What if, this hasn't happened yet, but it could happen.
Himawari goes on a date with Inojin, and they are officially a couple. That's his reward.
If Himawari says it's only because of what he did against Mabushi, then bad. There's no other future where that could have happened.
The problem there is that Ikimoto can't write it that way. He's gonna write it to where Himawari always likes Inojin. They say it's not just because of what he did. And it goes back to shout out iCarly for this. If they don't want to pull a Carly dating Freddy because of what he did when he jumped in front of the bus and saved Carly. No. It's he wants him to truly love her.
Oh my god. He's so stupid.
I don't remember that. The only part of iCarly I remember is Freddie and Sam dating.
You don't remember? Okay, do you remember that Freddie had the biggest crush on Carly ever?
Yeah, no, for like the entire show, and then she was always just like, "Oh, you're just a friend," and then they like kissed once, I think.
Well, there you go.
But Carly and Freddie do date for like a couple episodes or whatever after Freddie like saves her from
a bus.
I think it was like a bus or a car, whatever. The point is he like jumped in the way, saved her, he got injured.
Oh, yeah, it was on crutches, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I remember the crutches. I don't remember the bus part, but I remember the crutches.
Well, it was a bus or a car or something. The point was like he saved her from something.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying, there needs to be something they gain, otherwise it feels kind of meaningless.
Well, yeah, but what's
that's why
wrong
I
with
said let's
emotional
consider.
gain?
I know you said Ikimoto bad, but like let's consider the other arcs then.
Okay.
Let's do Tuba Vortex only. Okay. Let's start with the Kodachi arcs. And then work away to Ikimoto.
Okay.
So Momoshiki arc.
Well, do you want me to say things, or did you want to give elaboration? Then I'll say things.
No, we'll let you,
the name of the
this
arc.
is your thing. Because you're the one saying that the reward seemingly isn't here versus the other. So we'll let you get the answers.
Well, it's a specific condition to where it's the villains attacking the heroes to where the heroes have nothing to gain from the villains attacking them. Rather than other arcs where that's just not always the case.
Why does there need to be a gain from villains attacking the village, though? Because like the whole point is for the villains to attack. Like
I know,
and there to be losses.
You're just left with a kind of empty feeling if all you have is just loss. Then it's almost like, what was the point?
But no,
well, the point usually of like something like that.
An example, Momoshiki invades. So
it's the point of the Momoshiki arc, I think, it's not to like it's for usually when there's a big threat, it's for villages to come together. That's what like war usually happens is like allies like form, and then like if you're going based off of a history perspective, allies form to defeat the bad guys or the quote unquote bad guys, because I mean in World War II there was obviously a clear bad guy. But allies form to like group up and join sides, and then they attack, and then while you're in that rut you usually come up with all these like new technologies and all this other stuff to like enhance the world and make it better because you're in a crisis situation. Like that's just kind of how war in general works. Like it's not supposed to be, I don't know.
Okay. Well, for Momoshiki's arc, first of all, that happens halfway through the arc. Like, we can't just ignore the first half where that's not a thing.
No, but like, so I don't feel like it should have to be like the invasion starts at the beginning of the arc for this concept to
No, that's
work.
fine. It's not about when. It's about what else is in the arc, or is that like all the arc basically is?
Yeah, so I'm not saying to ignore it. I'm just saying, but if you're gonna have the topic of them, okay. So I guess the reason why you're bringing that up is if what they gain comes from the non-invasion part, then that's not fair. Basically, I guess is why.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple.
I feel like for Momoshiki arc.
I mean, Momoshiki arc, I'm not being hung up on this. There's multiple answers I could give that would be pretty easy. Yeah. The karma, as much of a consequence as it is, it's also a reward. It's the reason Boruto saves Konohamaru's life against Koji, and why Koji spares Team 7 at all.
True.
So
and this is internal again. I feel like my mind always jumps to the internal ones, but Naruto and Boruto's relationship.
Well, likewise,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just that Momoshiki's looking for Naruto. Naruto, realistically Sasuke, but Sasuke through Naruto is looking for the Otsutsuki as well. So they wanted to meet both ways. It's not just one way. Especially after what happened to Killer Bee, Naruto would definitely want to go to Momoshiki if he could. Also, it was kind of important for them to destroy that divine tree, probably, but ignore that. But did you want to go arc through arc, or?
Well, yeah, because the problem is like, I was gonna say the out isn't really an invasion. So are we going invasion only, or are we just gonna go
Well,
arc
exactly. That's why I think invasion only. But even if you wanted to go arc through arc, they get Kawaki at the end.
Okay.
Well, I think there's also like
Vortex Jura Hidari then.
Before you skip, there's also like I mentioned earlier, like all the Gokage are like fighting. I mean, they do that at the end of Naruto as well, but you see like how the relationships between the villages are improved through the Chunin exams, and then the payoff is like them fighting together with Momoshiki, and then like I guess like there's that whole aspect, and then in the Mamushi invasion, you see like all of Boruto's like ally people grouping together to fight against something as well for the first time.
Well, okay. Let me stop just going through each arc and maybe just go back to what I'm trying to say here, and maybe it'll make more sense. So it feels like Inojin, his sacrifice is almost meaningless if we're just returning back to the status quo. But at the only difference being Inojin just has a loss. At that point, it's almost like, why? It's just being mean to Inojin for no reason from an out-of-universe perspective.
Well, what about... Okay, but again, so what about the third Okage Konoha crushing? I guess you said Garo changed and...
Well, but also, I think there's fair consequences there. Hiruzen, regardless if we agree with it, Hiruzen hesitated to kill Orochimaru last time. Now that's biting him in the butt. Yeah,
okay. I guess you can't really say the same for Inojin.
Well, because, it's like Inojin protagonist, Mamushi antagonist. They're the most random character pairing of all time.
Okay, you know what? Okay, you know what? Because you're bringing it up, we should segue. We should probably segue to that topic.
Okay. But okay, I did want to also point out, this just applies to the entire conversation. The only other thing I had to say about this. So you guys remember the goal of the arc, right?
What arc?
Yeah.
So Inojin, he's only here for this arc, this Mamushi invasion arc. He's only here for Konoha and Himawari. The one thing he doesn't say is the one thing he protected, Ada.
Huh? I mean, yeah.
Well, so this gets into one of many critiques of this arc. But the thing is, again, at no point in the arc was it ever remotely made clear why Himawari dies. And that actually is a problem, because if they simply said Mamushi killed her when he was stupid, that's all I need to know. Now he did objectively protect Himawari because he was going to kill Himawari. I don't know if Jura showed up and killed Himawari for some unexplained reason that wasn't addressed. Mamushi's not targeting any of these people. He's only targeting Ada. He's like literally just doesn't care. He only goes after some people when they really piss him off. So why would Mamushi kill Himawari under many of the premises we saw, especially after they hoard them all together after Ada in the last few chapters? I don't know how he really protected Himawari. Because once Mamushi hypothetically devours Ada, is he going to go back to his hideout? Is he going to attack everyone? I don't know that. So why would I assume that? Nobody other Shinji was just going to go on a killing spree after they devour their targets. But if they simply just said it when he's stupid or whatever the reason is, then we would know.
If anything, I think
feel like Himawari was protected, because it doesn't feel like she was ever in danger.
Because I think it's the opposite of implied, if anything. Jura sort of is like saying, don't destroy the village, don't kill villagers unnecessarily. So it's like, I don't think he just would just level the village after he got Ada.
Exactly. It seems like he would go home. That's what he came there for, and he's leaving after he got it, just like all the other Shinju.
Yeah.
And honestly, of all this, I mean, Himawari is like, of all the people fighting, Himawari was like shown being in like one of the least dangers. Like Kawaki and Sarada pass out at least. Himawari's just always fine, always surrounded by other people to help her out. Like she's never even in danger.
But if anything, this also plays into what I was saying. So Inojin, we're gonna say he's gonna have permanent consequences. He gave up his eyes for Ada, someone he has no connection to, and it wasn't the goal of this arc. Well, it was the goal of the arc, but it wasn't Inojin's goal. Exactly.
Yeah.
Has stated.
I guess this is not...
Well, that's one of the major problems with this arc. But
it's weird at that point. It's like there's no connection there, so it's like he has to keep that consequence if we're gonna do that. But why would he even have it in the first place? Why does he keep it? Like, it's such a weird consequence for Inojin to have for something that's so unrelated to Inojin, and that's the only consequence of the arc. And that's all we're doing with the arc.
It's just weird to have. I mean, frankly, it's just weird to have Inojin's goal. Like, I mean, I know technically Inojin's always protecting Himawari, but it's like he was never really protecting Himawari because Himawari was never in danger. It's just like I'm trying to think of like the best analogy I could come up with, but like it's like if like they capture the flag at the tuning exams. Let's just say Inojin is supposed to guard the flag. And Inojin's goal is to guard the flag. But the entire time, he's just guarding some random building that's not the flag. Like, he's just guarding the wrong thing.
So he's just doing what Mitsuki did?
Yeah.
I think... I don't usually like when people do this, so I'm, like, being kind of, like, hypocritical here. But I feel like if the events were to continue, Himawari would be, like... Himawari and Boruto, obviously, would be the two, like, stronger fighters left, and she would be like, I want to put my training to use, and then try to protect Ada because she's nice like that, and then she could end up dying because she tried to protect Ada. But like that's all like speculation of just like if things were to continue the way they were, she probably would have tried at least to use her power, and then she would have ended up dying because
to be fair, she wasn't using it up until that point.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I don't really like when people do this because it's like all just speculation. Nothing was shown.
It's also a huge assumption that's not implied.
In fact, she's not going out of her way to do nothing. Ikimoto could have done that, like Sumire in the Hidari fight. Rather, Himawari is doing things. So she's willing to do things, but she isn't attacking Mabushi. So that tells us she's choosing not to do that. Not that she's just being drawn in the background. She's actively playing a presence, a role on the battlefield. She's not attacking the enemy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of like Karin, purposefully hiding from the enemy, if anything.
Yeah.
But it feels like this line right here, this sort of just, regardless of the consequence blind eye thing I was saying, this just feels like this is just proof. Ikimoto's going out of his way to write this in the most awkward, bad way possible. Like, why? Why would he do... It's like he had to purposefully, intentionally do this, knowing what he's gonna write.
Well, I mean, the problem is it comes back to the who's the protagonist of the arc thing, because Inojin saying this, okay, aside from the fact that he literally only protects Ada, isn't a problem, but it's like, if he's not the protagonist, that, whatever. But, like, if it's not Inojin, then who is?
You could also say, like...
Because... Go ahead.
It's Inojin.
I was going to say, you could also say Koji lied to him about Himawari being in danger in the first place just so that they could save Ada. But
I don't think so, because we did get that visual,
flashbacks.
And it does feel like Koji was thinking about that, so I do think it did happen. Again, we just don't know anything about that. It just feels weird if Inojin is the only consequence against the Mabushi invasion to protect Ada, and they don't get anything out of it. So what does Inojin get out of it? He just loses something. That's the only thing. No one else gets anything out of it.
What if Ada ends up realizing that Mitsuki was right through all of this?
About
the
what
problem
he said in
there
chapter
is
7
that
or 8 or whatever?
She should have learned that from the Sarada Sumire confession conversation stuff and not anything from the Mamushi invasion.
Because, like, what's the Mamushi
Yeah.
invasion changing other than Inojin being blind?
Sasha's character. I mean, frankly, what's the Mamushi invasion besides just Inojin? Period. Like, nobody else. I mean, maybe Sarada with our hypothetical Hokage stuff that Ikimoto may or may not even be doing.
So if the
Well,
whole point of this arc is
Kobu and
just to
Sarada
blind
and-
Inojin, it's like, if that's all we're doing and that doesn't come up to be relevant later, that's just being mean to Inojin.
Okay, well, hypothetical, because
All
you
the
mentioned
arc
Naruto
does.
changing Gaara. So I know this is the most indirect thing of all time versus the direct example of Naruto and Gaara. But let's just say Jiraiya changes because of all this. Thoughts on that?
What, he changed off screen when he realized that Inojin was alive like he should have?
Well, I feel like his change would come more in terms of like Boruto reviving Bug somehow, or like, I don't know.
Well, that's assuming Boruto does that. But
It's assuming
Well,
that
he's
code
gonna
doesn't
try.
stop him.
for all we know, they're gonna let him rot.
But we don't know what Boruto's gonna do. I mean, we do, but we don't.
I also think if anyone were to rot, Bug would be the best option. To
You know,
just, like-
exactly. He's disposable. He's the. I mean, it's not just like he's the Mabushi. No, it's like this was Boro's cult, like right hand man, reluctantly Code's ally, but still Code's ally. I mean, he's in part of Cult's organization. Like he's not on their side.
Yeah, well, that's actually important, though, because people are memeing on Boruto, saying this is the worst thing ever for Boruto having empathy, wanting to save Bug's life, because Boruto's too naive, optimistic, good guy, goody two-shoes. Bro, it's the same thing as Kakashi telling Sakura to heal Karin so they can take her back to the Leaf and interrogate her. It's the same thing. That's probably what Boruto's thinking. Like, why not?
Yeah, that's also possible. Yeah. I
Very
mean,
good
frankly,
idea.
I mean, if they really want to make me happy, because I mean, it's the most throwaway line of all time. But Sasuke specifically mentioned Bug. The big intel thing he got about Code was the man named Bug. And where has that gone? Nowhere. Well, if we could come back to that by just interrogating Bug for some, not intel that Amado had, maybe something that whole scientific research and development behind Jigen's back that Bug and Boro were doing, maybe Bug could shed some light into that and somehow that furthers the story in some way
I'll add.
that Amado
Doesn't
couldn't
Bug
do.
know-
That would be really freaking cool and make me happy.
Mhm.
Is Ikimoto do it? Probably not, but hopefully he does.
Doesn't Bug know though more about Daemon's abilities, or like something about
We
them
don't know how
that
much he knows,
he didn't
but
say?
He probably
But that would
knows at
also
least
work.
a little bit. Well, that's the thing. If Ikimoto does the thing to where he's going to have Bug be interrogated, not only is that making Bug more relevant as a character, which gives him more justification for surviving the Code Arc in the first place, you know, outside of Mamushi, but that's regardless of that. But if he survives this as well, that's just more reason to bring Bug back and be
well,
a
it'd also be
character.
cool if Code eavesdrops on that, gains that same
Yeah.
intel.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. No, but I was going to say, if hypothetically Bug is interrogated like you think he should be, then it's just going to be the same thing as Amado when he first defected to Leaf. Like, it's just going to be a big info dump because there's no world where not even Ikimoto would be bad enough to write Bugs being interrogated and he has a zero intel, genuinely.
Well,
Come on.
you say that.
Okay,
But,
I'd be
like,
okay with it if it's
Go back
strictly
to
a
Boruto's
comedy scene.
interrogation. What did the audience really learn? Like one sentence about Jiraiya being the incarnation of the Ten Tails, which we already could have heavily, very clearly told was at least part of his identity, and all they did was reaffirm it. You know, so
Well, the
I'm
whole
not putting
point
it
of
past
that was-
Ikimoto, but I am demanding
Well-
new information.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily new information, but he covered for Kawaki and didn't say the stuff. And then Kawaki was like, "Why did you do that?" And Boruto was like,
That was important.
"Nah," and then just got his stuff and walked away.
I'll also
But
add...
in the case of Bug, I agree. He should be giving us new information. I think the best thing to do is the Boros stuff that they'll mention in the Code Arc, but something anyway.
With the Boruto interrogation, you know, Kamui hates that I love this. I'm the only fan in the world of this. But which one is the girl? Is it Hamura? No, it's Kohada.
Oh, the elders?
Yeah, of the
I
elders.
think Hamura's the guy.
Okay,
I
is it
always forget,
Kohada?
too.
Is that... No, that's
No,
the...
Kohada is
It's
the
the
naked
naked
lady
one.
Jiraiya's
Okay,
fighting
what's
on.
the girl?
Koharu and Hummer. I think Hummer is the guy.
Koharu.
Koharu
Okay, it was
is
very
the girl.
close to Kohara, so that's probably why. So Koharu, I really, really loved the way that Koharu looked at Boruto and Boruto had scenes with Koharu. Those are my favorite parts of the interrogation. That's what stood out to me. Those are good.
Okay. I don't mind the way she looks at him. I just don't like the way she takes 5 paragraphs to say 3 actual words.
Listen, I can excuse that for the way that Koharu was looking at Boruto. It was cool. Listen, Kamui, if we can hype up Sai's design of his eyes looking at Shikamaru for a year.
Okay. You know what?
Literally calling him the best character in Two Blue Vortex because of his expression.
With Sai saying nothing was the best thing of this arc.
Making the crackpot theories of why narratively Sai being Hokage would be the best thing of all time based on his eyebrows being slanted downwards.
Don't give me that one.
Yeah. But I think we've probably exhausted this topic. So, Kamui, with the last 10 minutes of stream, why is Ishiki good?
Well, okay, I was gonna say honest. Well, we can either segue to that topic I was gonna mention earlier, or do a little bit of the Ishiki.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of the whole reason that we did this stream and asked Miss Anne to be it's up to you.
Wait, what?
Whereas you're right, we only have 10 minutes.
Unless you wanted to extend it, but I'm not going to be the one to offer, since you've got to take it if I do.
I should not. Because, I mean, I should give myself... I also want to sleep and make dinner. I should give myself probably 12 hours to do the other half of an entire semester of a course. No, for everyone to say I'm crazy, I did do the first half in less than 12 hours. I'm just saying I should give myself 12 hours.
I still haven't even started my 10,000 word senior thesis yet, so I think you're fine. And it's due in 2 weeks.
I'm not saying one assignment. I'm saying half of the entire course.
To be fair, Kamui, that's entirely on you for starting it 2 days before your deadline.
Okay, you know,
wait.
Every time I get away with it, I say, why? Why do I have, to some extent, why do I have to keep getting away with it? Because I know I can do it. Because I've done it.
Oh, I'm never going to do this again. Flash forward 3 months.
Oh, no, it's even worse this time. To be fair, the course load is less than this one. It's more just the tests are weighted higher. And frankly, I come to learn that I really don't need to study that too well, like usual. But still, I am doing an entire semester in 2 days. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at this point, Kamui, considering it would take really cool. The last 5 minutes of stream to even find where to start on the Ishiki topic, I guess I'll agree. We should do something else.
Okay. So the question is, do you want to do a rewrite, or do you want to do the why this arc character mashup thing?
Okay, so how do I do the mashup thing? What am I searching for?
Okay, look. Just search okay, look.
Okay, is it okay or okay AY?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, just okay. Like that.
Okay, probably not this.
Okay, not that one, but this one. Yeah.
This one. Okay, well, if you think we can do this, stopping it down.
Bro isn't gonna be able to read it in 5 minutes.
You surprised me before.
I didn't realize I wrote that much. Well, okay. The problem is no other topics can be any better. So,
well, there are a couple shorter rewrites if you wanted to find a rewrite. But I mean, this is a relevant topic. Yeah, this is a pretty good topic from what I'm seeing.
See, this one is the most relevant one.
It's also good to do the chapter 33 topics or whatever, before chapter 34 comes out, when it's most relevant.
Let's just do this one. Okay, look. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Inojin getting a lot of development in this arc. But You want to alternate?
Neither. I knew you were gonna say that. I paused waiting for you to say that before I started reading, knowing you're gonna. Neither Mamushi nor Ada, the Shinju with the target and the one being targeted by the Shinju, had any development in this arc pertaining to the events of the arc. Ada's art and Sumeru's stuff was entirely irrelevant to anything Mamushi and could have happened at literally any point, and she already suspecting all of that stuff for a long time now anyways. I'll add that Kobu is also separate from the Mamushi stuff in my opinion. Same way Chunin Exam separate from the Mamushiki stuff in the first arc, but anyways.
But if you want to include Kobu, like, first of all, that's, okay, Inojin. And second of all, that happens during the invasion. Like, the Ada Stardust Sumeru has literally nothing to do with Mamushi whatsoever. There is zero crossover.
Yeah. At the very least, I'm sure you would agree the Kobu stuff is like A story, B story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
kind of, because it was. Well, the whole point was that it coincided with Mamushi's. Like the reason that it was so like messed up is because it coincided with Kobu's visit, and we got the Sai stuff as well that pertains to Inojin because of Kobu being there and Koji being like, "Hey, go kill Kobu," and then Sai being like, "What are you making my son do?"
Well,
to be fair though, Miss And, it actually also, in addition to coinciding with the invasion, it also coincides with not the invasion, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but Konohamaru was interrogated for 3 days straight.
Yeah, so that's why I was gonna say, let's not mention the time, because we got some time dilation going on here. You know, it's Schrodinger's cat or whatever. It's the movie Coherence. It's both happening and not happening at the same time.
But also, again, Kobu had nothing to do with neither Mamushi nor Ada's development anyway, so furthering the point.
Yeah. But speaking of furthering something, that's crazy and weird. Wouldn't this be the time to give them development? And Mamushi is dead now, so there goes that idea. But what's more, Miss And?
What's more, Inojin and technically even Shikadai a little get development in this arc against Mamushi, a Shinju based on the guy they've never met and whose target isn't Himawari, yet had nothing in the previous arc where Matsuri, the Shinju based on their sensei Moagi, was the Shinju in question, and Jura actually does show up in that arc too. There you go.
Okay, Kamui, you overemphasized this one. There was too much emphasis here. Not all these words needed the capitalization.
I don't care. Why didn't Ikimoto approach this differently? Why did he do it this way?
Are we actually just going to go line by line?
Yep.
I'm not saying it's all a problem, but it's also weird at the same time.
Things could have been tweaked around differently to still end up with Mamushi going after Ada and using all the same characters just with different Shinju in each arc.
For example, in the Sand Village, or during some other invasion situation, these are just examples, by the way, Ada is forced into a situation where she has to use her Senrigan in order to save Kawaki or Boruto or Sarada. One of these 3 would make the most sense. If it's after the Sarada Sumire Omnipotence friendship reveal, all the more reason to do Sarada, in terms of saving her. Ada reluctantly chooses to save Sarada, knowing it means Mamushi will find her, and that's how you get Mamushi switching gears and going after Ada in the middle of that hypothetical arc situation, as opposed to the, for whatever reason, Boruto showing up means Mamushi's gonna show up earlier explanation Goji gave that makes no sense.
Or God forbid, it's because Inojin learned his jutsu a few days earlier that Mamushi showed up, which is what Koji implies.
Which makes no sense. Considering Mamushi doesn't even know that.
Exactly. Whose line is this? Is this my line?
This is you, Oodie.
Yeah.
In this case, you can divvy up the Shinju in many different ways depending on what you like best.
I'll have to think about it more to see how I'd like to reorganize it.
Again, I'm not saying there's a problem with the order, just that it theoretically could be done in a more sensible way.
Also, the Mamushi idea with the Senrigan also solves Mamushi invading early, making no sense, Because here, Ada is making a choice that specifically leads to his invasion being when it is, versus nonsensical timeline changes that make no sense. Okay, so this was 737.
With that, that's just the end of it, I guess.
Okay,
I never thought about the reorganizing order. Is there a particular? So, like, again, that was a hypothetical to where Ada made that choice in the previous arc that leads to this arc. But is there a hypothetical way you would reorder the Shinju or reorder the teams who are fighting the different arcs? So that, because the idea here would be like, okay, Team 10. I mean, like, literally. It's not just us. Matsuri is like talking about Team Inu Shikacho in chapter 5. It's the first people she mentions. That's their sensei. She knows them. You would think they would, interact with her, but they don't. And instead they're interacting with Mamushi, who they don't know. Ada and Mamushi aren't developing. So in this case, how would you restructure it so that the characters all develop where it makes sense to develop? Now, I will add a caveat real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Team 10 can definitely be a road, and this might be why Ikimoto did this way. They could potentially be a roadblock with Konohamaru and Matsuri's situation, because that is very one-on-one. But I don't think it's impossible to just write both when the time calls for it. Have Shikacho near Matsuri for their scenes. Have Konohamaru alone with Matsuri for some scenes. I don't think it's impossible to write it that way. But that could be why Ikimoto chose to just not include him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it would definitely make more sense for them to have, because they did have to have an opponent because they are part, so they had Jura, but obviously they can't win against him because Boruto and Kawaki can't even win against him. So that was them testing it out, figuring out that Himori has Kurama and all that kind of stuff. Then they needed to have some relevance later, and they can't have relevance against Hidari because that has to be Boruto and Sarada's fight. They could have had relevance against Matsuri, but with the way that he wrote Matsuri, it wouldn't make sense for them to be in the background with Konohamaru, because then she would have gotten tipped off that this wasn't just about her and Konohamaru, and that something else was coming later. So she would have been like, how why are these children interrupting our date, Konohamaru? This kind of it just wouldn't have worked as well for the way that Matsuri was written, even though that totally could have been a much that fight could have been played up for them in that kind of way. But because Mamushi is really the only one left other than Jura, they have to do something.
Something else they could have done with Matsuri, actually, is, again, this is going to have a problem with it, but if instead of Boruto saving Konohamaru, they save her, and then that's where they come into the fight and do their development from then on. The thing you lose there, though, is then Boruto's choice to save Konohamaru, and you have to figure out what you're going to do there.
Exactly. Well, you could have had Boruto, saving Sarada instead of saving Konohamaru, or getting upset with the Yodo stuff. But
yeah, the problem there is that Koji Mangekyo. But I think a funniest one right here. Okay, this isn't the bad. Okay, Boruto saving Konohamaru is infinitely better than this, but I'm still gonna say it anyway. So Team Inu Shikacho saves Konohamaru, then they do all that stuff, and then they're going down, and that's when Boruto decides to intervene and save Team Inu Shikacho.
Oh yeah, I could see that being a thing, but it just
Konohamaru for obvious reasons. But to be fair, those are Boruto's friends. Konohamaru's not really fully on Boruto's side at this moment anyway, so you can just have one of the. It doesn't really matter. Those are Boruto's friends at the end of the day, so it's reasonable for him to save them. I mean, if he's crying over Yodo, he can't get over Yodo, lost all his tears for Yodo. I feel like he would save Team Inu Shikacho.
Yeah, no, he would.
Even if Konohamaru's more meaningful.
But then that wouldn't give Team Inu Shikacho as big of a moment, because they needed something to make them stand out as a team and not just get saved by Boruto all the time. Otherwise, it would just be another Goku situation where Boruto is just Goku going around saving everybody.
Well, to be fair, he kind of has been doing that anyways, but...
Well, he has, but in this arc, he took a backseat. He was a support role, and Sarada was the main role, and then he caught her, but she still tried to do her thing, and then he didn't get the final payoff. Inogen did.
I don't know. I think that just looks at final payoff rather than throughout, in my opinion.
Well, see, that's the thing about Dragon Ball is Goku consistently gets the final payoff, and all of the other characters consistently fail.
But that's fail leading up to the very finale, whereas up until that point they had more or less succeeded.
I mean, okay, so the only one that actually gets payoff for me in Dragon Ball is Chosen because he dies. But then it's pointless. They just killed him off for no reason. Anyway, sorry, he was my favorite character. But but that being besides the point, I am glad that they actually gave them a moment of like a victory that was theirs, that was earned through Inojin, even though because like Inojin was more of a main character than everybody else because of his developments with Himawari. Like Shikadai had the whole like conversation with Shikamaru where he was like, order me because I don't want to make this decision myself. And then Chocho is just being Chocho.
No,
she had her moment where she was smashing stuff. But
not to complain about Chocho, but like every other character in this arc got a little bit of something. So Inojin obvious. Himawari through Inojin. Shikadai and his dad. Boruto, a little bit of Boruto stuff. Koji stuff. Sarada, her stuff. Like, everyone gets a little bit of something. Kawaki with another upgrade. Chocho is the one character who got literally not a single thing in this arc, and she's the one punching off Mamushi's head. Okay, like, not gonna let this go.
Okay, let's put the Dragon Ball thing into Naruto terms for Kamui. So Kamui, Goku is kind of like Naruto in the Pain arc. It's not just that Naruto got the final hit against Pain. You know, he's the one for the final fight. It's that Naruto isn't even there for the first half. So the village, they do have to hold their own. They have to stall Pain long enough for Naruto to show up. They have to defend against Pain, otherwise they just lose. Naruto loses. They all lose. Goku is the same way, to where he's not showing up until the end. They have to defend against their opponent for their own lives, or even to take down some of the opponents before the final villain shows up, or whatever. And they do have to successfully do that, and that's their time to get development. It's similar to how, okay, yeah, Boruto technically is the one that bailed out the Himawari Shikacho situation against Jura in that first arc. He's the way that whole thing was resolved there. But if Team Shikacho didn't do what they did, that Boruto situation doesn't happen in the first place, that doesn't take away from everything that happened there with Shikacho assisting Himawari and everything they had there directly confronting Jura.
Yeah, but imagine he goes and up against Jura, and immediately they get locked into like this 20 episode battle where he's just like facing off against Jura for a very, very long time. Well, okay, Dragon Ball isn't that long, I guess I shouldn't say 20 episodes. Sorry, I like to exaggerate fights. But like, imagine that every time Boruto goes to save someone, they're all like, Boruto, our only hope, and then Boruto just shows up and he just fights the villain until the villain's dead. Like, that's consistently the plot. That is Dragon Ball.
But that's just coming in at the end, because it's the same thing with the Konohamaru example.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Konohamaru then?
Because technically, okay, for the Konohamaru example, that one's technically different. Boruto can literally flying Raijin there at literally any time. With Inochika Show, Boruto can't do that. It's just a little tongue twister. But Boruto's recovering from his quote-unquote fight against Kawaki because of his Karma Seal. He literally can't get to Himawari faster. I mean, maybe technically he could have, but who knows? Momoshiki might have taken over, but not really because he's depressed and wants to die. But ignoring the nonsense that we didn't know at the time.
His hands are probably just a little itchy. You just have to put some itching cream on it.
Yeah, he's recovering his breath as he tells Shikamaru or whatever. So he literally can't get there quicker. It's like Naruto, who literally couldn't have got to the Pain arc quicker. Outside of just random chance. Because he didn't know. But for this one, he literally physically can't get there quicker. For the Konohamaru one, that's different. He could literally go there at any point. But the point is, he doesn't want to go. But that doesn't take away from everything that happened with Konohamaru and Moegi, or Matsu, I should say. Because there is actual development there, and there is struggle and conflict, and all that does matter, regardless of if they're bailed out at the end. Well, they weren't bailed out up until that point, and up until that point, they didn't realize they were going to be bailed out, so everything that happened still matters.
But still matters. I'm just glad that they gave them actual, like, feats that paid to the overall, like, the ending. Like, it wasn't Boruto who like won, I guess, in that quote unquote winning. Like, he played a support. I'm just glad that So it didn't have to be done that way, I agree. But I'm glad it was done that way for the payoff, I guess, if that makes sense. So it wasn't just like another Goku situation where Boruto is the only one who can actually do anything.
Well, let me give you an obvious example.
But using that example though, like contrasting with Might Guy doesn't know he's gonna be saved. If we're gonna operate under the Inojin, Hibawari, back me up and heal me, it makes it seem like it's a very different situation.
Well, okay, I'm glad you said it, because I agree. I think it is a very different situation. That's why it's not just comparison, it's contrast. I have another example for you. This one is the most obvious example of all time. We've used this before, Kamui. Not for this, but for some other things. If Baryon mode Naruto doesn't happen, Kawaki can't get the final hit against Ishiki. Kawaki did get the final hit against Ishiki. That doesn't remove the impact that Baryon mode had.
I'm not saying the other characters don't have any impact just because Boruto shows up and saves them. I'm just glad that they give it to other characters. Like, obviously, Naruto was very important in that situation, and he was the thing that allowed Kawaki to get the final hit. I'm just glad they gave the final hit to Kawaki. It's like the same thing where, sometimes, a lot of times in anime, the stronger characters will, like, let the weaker characters do things, and that's another example, like the Momoshiki arc that happens where they let Boruto have the final hit. It's like they could have done it themselves, but they want to develop the other characters, so they give it to them. Like, Goku never did that, is my issue. I mean, he tried to do that with his son, but then he was just like, he failed.
I mean, that's that one scenario. That one's a little bit different.
Could have done his thing at, like, any time.
In 99% of Dragon Ball cases, it's that Goku isn't there and rushing to the battlefield as quickly as he can, and everyone knows that.
Even though he has, like, Shinkan-Ido, it's just, like, the instant, like, he could just appear, but
that's not till later on, to be fair.
Still though, they made him so OP, and then they're just like, oh, convenient excuse. Don't get me wrong, I still love Dragon Ball. It's just like, I'm just glad it wasn't done that way.
Sure. But I'm sure, I mean, I'm glad we're all on the same page that, if Baryon mode doesn't happen, the shadow clone trick against 3-day lifespan Ishiki, Kawaki's not getting out of that one.
Yeah, no.
That would be funny if it's like for 3 days in a row, Ishiki's just like, ooh, a piece of candy. He just keeps going after Kawaki's shadow clone. But I don't think that's how that would work.
Kawaki just has that much chakra because he borrowed Naruto's arm somehow that had just incredible reserves of chakra. That would be a Dragon Ball thing.
Yes. The last thing I wanted to say on this is, so ignoring that aspect that we just covered, the way that I would address this is, I don't know if this really addresses it, but in my opinion, it does close enough. Chocho doesn't have anything in this arc, and that matters because Ino Shikacho all played a part in rescuing Himawari the first time. In fact, I think that was done really well, that they each individually had their role, physically, narratively, character interaction with Himawari. They each played a part to save her there. They don't do that in this arc at all. Inojin obviously has his thing with Himawari with the loving thing and saving her at the end. Technically, quote unquote, is what we're supposed to believe anyways. And then Shikadai has his moment with Himawari, not just literally during the Mamushi arc to where it's like, oh, don't blow up the village, Himawari. Oh, I'm gonna scold you and the audience is gonna hate me for doing it, but I'm gonna do it. It's not just that moment. It's also...
bro, no, I don't care if no one else is gonna support it. No, Shikadai is right. Himawari's stupid. I don't know what she was doing.
But
yeah, no, I'm glad.
I mean, her in the face for that shit.
Yeah, and that makes
technically...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, technically, Chocho played a support role in that as well, because she was the one who threw the ball of, like, shadow towards this guy.
She didn't say anything to him. He didn't scold her. All she did was follow Shikadai's orders.
Oh, she punched the head off of a Mamushi. Maybe that was the one Mamushi who was going to kill her in the future. No, we're not playing this.
I'm just saying, she didn't exactly do nothing. She had a little bit of a role. Like, she didn't just sit there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to equate that to no role.
She punched Mamushi's head off.
So that's not Himawari related anyways, in my opinion. Because Inojin, he's doing it directly in reference. Like, Chocho is going to do that regardless. So here's the difference, is that Shikadai... Because, okay, that scene that I just described makes my point enough. But an arguably better scene, at least indirectly, if not directly, a better scene would be before the Mamushi invasion arc. I think it's chapter 28. You have Shikadai talking to Shikamaru, and he's saying,
That's what I thought you were gonna start with.
yeah, okay, I'm glad, Kamui, because that means we're on the same page. Shikadai tells Shikamaru that he's aware that because Himawari is supporting Boruto, Himawari's probably already on your secret team, right, Dad? So that means, well, I think Shikadai says something along the lines of, Chocho and I feel the same way about Himawari. So we want to join the team, but we'll do it if you ask us as Hokage, not as Dad. And that's like the thing that everyone remembers. But the reason Shikadai is joining the team is to protect Himawari, because Himawari wants to support Boruto, and that means that Himawari is on Shikamaru's team. But they're doing it for Himawari. And again, Shikadai says, this is my point, Shikadai says, Chocho and I feel the same way. That's why, but we only ever get something from Shikamaru in reference to Himawari here. We don't get a Chocho scolding Himawari scene, or we don't get a contrast of Chocho saying, "Yo, Shikadai, you're being too mean. You gotta do this other different approach that only uniquely I and not Inojin will do." We don't have that for Chocho.
Frankly, if she just did her stinking potato chip analogies, what perfect time. Like, that simple.
I also think there's the fact that she's a girl and it's a shonen, so they're just gonna give the development to the guys usually.
No, not with Ikimoto, bro. You can't be putting out your shoujo this, shoujo that, Sarada, Sumire, Japanese, the way they stand in Japanese analysis, and then say that. Okay, no. It's one or the other. It's either shonen and the girls don't matter, or Ikimoto is a girl and fights girls.
Well, that's what I was talking about, was the fact that he combines them. So it's like he combines both tropes and makes the shoujo-ness of it less toxic than a usual shoujo, because it's not just focused around like the romance aspects. But like there is the whole like, I wish he gave Chocho more development, but like it just hasn't happened. Like it's probably not gonna happen because she's not as important, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. Because you got Shikadai, whose dad is the literal Hokage, and Sai, who's doing things that, as like, you can involve him as a character in Inojin's life as well as Ino, and then there's Choji and Karu who are just doing nothing. Like they're not even a part of the story at this point. So it doesn't allow you to bring like Chocho in as relevant in that aspect as well. So there's not a lot of as much, I guess, room to develop her as a character in that sense, even though she should have something. Like it's fair that she doesn't.
Well, it's not just that, it's also, if you look at how she's been used in the past, and the two biggest examples are gonna be Naruto Gaiden and the Taiyaki scene in part 1, but Chocho is like the most static character. Like, she doesn't change, and that's the point. She's used in very supportive role ways, and the two examples I gave are actually very good uses of Chocho.
Yeah,
they just don't do that anymore. Like, she's kind of has a couple of gag scenes and then she's just there, but they're not using her to either contrast Sarada and Naruto Gaiden and support Sarada's growth, or to make a food analogy point with Taiyaki that only Chocho can do around Kawaki or whatever. Like, they're not doing that. Is the difference between old Chocho and current JoJo.
Well, there's also no, like, Chocho is more of a slice of life character, and there is not room for slice of life right now. So, like, you get her, like, sitting with Himawari. So, obviously, you know that they're friends. They've been doing stuff together. There's, like, Chocho has an influence over her. But, like, she's such a laid-back, like, character that it's hard to, like, I don't know. It's hard to keep her as herself and then do things with her in the action stuff.
I don't think that's necessary. Okay, because you can't get more laid back than Shikamaru. And do I need to say more than like the Sasuke retrieval arc to say that the most laid back character of all time, who does, or like in the freaking Konohakura, Shikamaru doesn't even want to be there. He's that laid back, and they're doing stuff with him. So I feel like you can definitely still use Chocho.
Oh no, you can. I think she's probably going to be used later. A lot of people think she's going to talk to Jura somehow, because she would be, like, the one to answer Jura's question as well. Like, she would be the most, like, and he always shows up in dango shops where she's like frequents and stuff. So I feel like her and Jura are gonna have a conversation, and that's gonna actually be Chocho's payoff because it has so much to do with
Chocho like just changes Jura, like she's the reason he's not evil. I'm down, bro. Like
that's crazy. Well, that's good. Now, there is like a bigger analysis to do on Shikamaru being lazy as opposed to like the next gen like Chocho, especially with Shikadai, who everyone says is a Shikamaru clone. I have like such a beautiful long analysis I'm not going to get into of why that's absolutely not the case, of why Shikadai is entirely different from Shikamaru in so many different ways.
The same.
One of the biggest ways, and I wanted to say this last stream that Mello and Sanjay were on, that they just weren't getting it, but one of the biggest differences between the previous gen and this current gen is the lack of expectation out of them. The previous gen, like Shikamaru, he wanted to be lazy, but he knew that he couldn't be. He couldn't afford to be because of the expectation placed on him. He not to became a ninja because of the expectations placed on her. Lee needed to prove something to the world, and that ruined his life because of the expectations placed on him. The next generation, I guess because of the previous generation, they understood the role of that, and they changed the world where that didn't have to be the case. They removed that, so the next generation, they lack that necessary, the expectation, the heavy, intense expectations that enacted as a burden placed on them.
Himawari's the greatest example. Not even expected to be a ninja.
Yeah, and I was trying to say that last time, but they just weren't really getting it. It's okay. But yeah, I think we covered Chocho pretty nicely there, where she didn't really have anything, but she could have had something. But I like what you said, Kamui, that to where Chocho as a character always comes across as comedic, but it's a nice foil to other characters who do get serious development from that. Sarada, Naruto, Gaiden gets actual maturity from Chocho's nonsense, in the same way that Kawaki actually understands things because of Chocho's stupid Taiyaki analogies.
Exactly. So if I mean, they got the pancakes, we're never going to let the pancakes go, but like, if they actually did something with that, no matter how small, there you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Chocho's payoff or like involvement with this arc is going to be in the in-between like fights.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I thought of something really stupid, but I don't care. Okay. Stupid, but rewrites. I don't care what specifically she says about pancakes or dango or potato chips or whatever, but somehow what Chocho says at some point is what gives Inojin the idea for his final plan. So he hears Chocho's words, then thinks back to Amado's words, and then does his plan. I don't know what she's gonna say to make that happen, but that's so we can get Chocho right.
Well, here's my thing. I don't understand why Chocho's even been written in based on what Miss And was saying. Like, if she's only going to be relevant during the in-between sites, if she's a slice of life character and it's not slice of life right now, why is she even here? Just don't even include her in the story in the same way you don't include any legacy or anime-only character in any chapter ever without explanation.
Because she's part of Ino Shikacho, she has to be there.
The problem is we don't have Team Ino Shikacho.
Not even there.
Exactly. Inojin's physically not present for the team, and Shikadai is acting on his own. See, the problem is they have the line of, oh, Chocho feels the same way about this as I do. Why would they include that line, though? Keep in mind, Shikadai's supposed to be the genius character here. He should have this, since he's the only one having the individual scenes with Himawari anyways, despite Chocho being right there. It's kind of clashing that idea, it's almost contradicting it in a way. Keep in mind, it wasn't Shikadai and Chocho who were promoted to tuning. It's not Shikadai and Chocho who are Shikamaru's sons who will do this as the Hokage only, but not as the child or what. It's just Shikadai. It doesn't apply to Chocho. So why would Shikadai add that? Why would Ikimoto write that in if he's not going to do anything with Chocho?
Because Chocho just is she just needs to be included. She's just there.
She
like it's
doesn't.
No,
Sakura needs to be included.
Mitsuki doesn't. Because Mitsuki's not there for like 99% of this arc.
There you
the rest
go.
of Team 7 is. Mitsuki's not there for the code invasion like the rest of Team 7.
Yeah.
Mitsuki's not there for like half the stuff, so
Mitsuki's been so sidelined. I'm upset about
Okay.
that.
So why has
same,
Mitsuki been sidelined, but not Chocho?
I mean,
Yeah,
Chocho
good
has had less of a role than Mitsuki has, to be fair, though, because Mitsuki caught Sarada at the end of the Ryu thing, and that was like a Mitsuki moment, I guess you could say. He also was like there standing.
Okay,
when
but
she
Chocho
passed
could have
out.
easily done that with her partial expansion shooters, so I'm not even gonna give him that.
But looking at
What do you
this
mean?
arc,
Like she could have replaced Mitsuki in that situation?
It caught
yeah,
Sarada.
But like I'm not saying like narrative importance, but he's still there as a character. Like you can't just remove him as a character. I mean, you could, but
Igimoto's doing his best to do so. Because keep in mind, yes, he has the Kobu thing, but Mitsuki literally isn't present at all during the Mamushi invasion. We don't see Mitsuki in the village when Mamushi's in the village. We only see him at the very end when Sarada's doing her thing and he's going Sage mode to like do his hands underground to come up with the snake hands, knock the Mamushis in the air, and that does literally nothing, and that's the only thing he's done against Mamushi at all.
Also, when
Yeah.
it comes to the Kobu interrogation, Mitsuki's portion is so short, basically goes nowhere, just gets to leave.
At least Chocho
I mean, Mitsuki
killed
was
a
also the one to
Mamushi.
free Boruto, though, from his interrogation thing, and he was probably the only one who could have done that. So there's something.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at
but they
this
don't
arc.
reach a conclusion on it because it gets interrupted
Yeah, that's true.
after like 20 seconds.
But like looking at this arc in particular, and to be fair, I'm not saying that every character needs to have relevance in literally every arc. That obviously doesn't make sense. Obviously, that doesn't need to be the case. But why would a Chocho be more relevant than Mitsuki in this arc?
She should be. I agree.
Should be, but she isn't. Well, she is, but
But that's because Mitsuki's so irrelevant.
not exactly.
Because Mitsuki literally does nothing.
It's a 0 versus 1%, you know.
When Chocho
ridiculous.
should be at like an 80%, and Mitsuki should be higher than that. It's a problem on both fronts.
I think a lot of it comes in to the fact too that Ikemoto doesn't like. He doesn't think in a way that allows him to write as much in a chapter as he could, and therefore he just chooses not to develop certain characters because he doesn't have the capacity to write that much into a chapter because of the way he writes.
So, in other words, Himato's bad.
Yeah, this is a part where I'm agreeing with you guys that he just like because of the way that his writing style is very much, it feels like discovery writing where he's understanding what is going on as he writes it, kind of, if that makes sense. Where like
Well, that
Yeah,
explains
so, like,
why.
it's
he
just
doesn't have
coherence
that-
again. The whole manga is improv.
not necessarily like he's obviously still following like a line and he has like setup and all that kind of stuff, but because of like because I mentioned before, like probably on one of the first streams that I was here for, but I do the same thing where like I have to write a bunch of like explanation about the characters' understandings of what they're coming to the understanding to, and then take that out so that the reader can come to that themselves. Ikemoto just doesn't filter it out. Like he doesn't take it out. So like because he writes that way, he doesn't have the space to expound upon and keep the story going. Like it would like people would drop it if he continued to incorporate Chocho in that way with his current pace of writing, like with the current way that he writes.
People have already been saying this arc has been dragging.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair though, I'm gonna shout out Daigo. The issue again, the pacing isn't slow if things are happening.
Exactly.
People complain about it dragging when nothing's happening, nothing interesting, whether it's character or plot. You're complaining because they're just punch, kick, repeat on Mamushi clones that are, according to Koji and Itojin, weak as hell. And that's all those happening for a few chapters. It's just nothing happened. But if Chocho's getting actual development that the story makes you care about, and then executes on, aside from Chocho being a meme and that they're in too deep on, people are gonna care. They're not gonna say it's dragging because things are happening.
Yeah. I also think that Ikamoto writes a lot more of like you guys were talking about earlier. I think like internal versus like whatever the other word is, payoff. He writes a lot more of that internal stuff than he does the other one that you guys were trying to pay attention to.
Kamui, you can't hear. Just leave and rejoin. Yeah, she's talking. So. Yeah, Kamui, can you hear either of us?
Oh my god, you can't.
Well, Kamui, we could hear you. I think you were saying that
I don't
you
understand.
Hear me,
yeah, I don't understand what's going on with this shit. I'm not doing anything. I'm at my house, like normal, not touching anything.
Well,
randomly in the middle of Miss Anne talking for like the 4th time now. Can't hear anymore.
Well, to be fair, Kamui, my computer crashed because Discord was open or so. Like, explain that.
Yeah,
it's a little crazy.
But...
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, my laptop keyboard literally stopped working in the middle of me typing, and I couldn't like it was a hardware issue. It just failed. Like,
well,
I had to get a new keyboard.
Yourself, but what were you saying?
Oh, the thing about like the types of payoff, Ikemoto does a lot more internal payoffs than he does like, or internal like developments, I guess, and emotional like psychological stuff than he does with the physical stuff. And I feel like when I listen to you guys like talk about like why he's bad and all this kind of stuff, you focus a lot more on the other aspect, which is the physical or like the what's actually going on with like powers and all that other kind of stuff where like and fighting.
I disagree with that. Yeah, I mean maybe you haven't watched every stream, but I feel like by far our longest topics are absolutely the narrative portions of things.
No, I 100% agree because that's what Ikimoto is doing. So you're kind of, but like at the same time, you complain the most about how the physical isn't paid off a lot of times. But I think that's just Ikimoto as a writer and what he chooses to pay off versus what he doesn't.
You know, as opposed to Kishimoto, which I'm glad that I'm... Okay, so, Miss Anne, earlier you were saying the thing about Ikimoto's setup. So, you know, Ikimoto does have a lot of setup. Kishimoto wrote him an outline. You know, the outline that he completely ignored and went off in his own direction against.
I mean, I don't think he completely ignored it because there's a lot of stuff that I can still see, like, tying back to... He does have to consult Kishimoto about changes and stuff like that. And Kishimoto did say, like, oh, it's his own thing now.
What will happen next.
Yeah, wasn't it said that it's a completely different story than what it was originally meant to be?
Well, I don't know if it's like completely and entirely in every single aspect levels of different, or whether
I think both of those words were used completely and entirely.
I mean, I guess like
not to exaggerate it, but Ikimoto did that for me.
Words in common.
Like I'm quoting the man here. I'm not. This isn't me doing it this time.
I mean, if you talk about like how he, I guess my point was that he did have Kishimoto's outline, but like you can tell that also because of the way he's writing that he is not having like as much of an idea of where he's going, which is also the point that I was trying to make.
We can tell.
Yeah.
Which means he's not really following much of an outline if he doesn't know where he's going.
Yeah.
Well, in manga writing, you have to have like at least the arc planned before, like you storyboard a lot of stuff in the editor, you go back and forth with your editor before it ever becomes like a chapter. So he does have to have a rough plan for every arc, and he can't really like change after he makes the rough plan for the arc, and like his editor and Kishimoto would review that as well. Even though Kishimoto isn't like involved in a lot of the choices, but like he's involved in the bigger choices. So like if a character was going to die or whatever, like all this was in an interview as well. But like they talk back and forth about it as to whether it's a good idea or not, and then he eventually like whatever happens. But he does have to have some resemblance of structure, and you can see that he has pretty much each arc planned out to a certain way, and he knows vaguely where he's going. But like because of the amount of explanation that's in each thing, like I feel like he's still kind of when he's storyboarding, his editor doesn't edit out a lot of the things that should be edited out. He just lets him will like put all this explanation in.
Yeah, he does not edit out the recap. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Kamui, I'm so sorry, but I had one more thing to say on this whole topic of yours here. That isn't this. So on this part in particular, and this goes back to something you were saying earlier that I wanted to mention this part at. I think it's not necessarily fair, as much as I clowned and memed on it earlier, that Ikimo's just pulling names out of a hat to see who's going to be the protagonist and antagonist. Freaking Inojin and Mabushi, really? That's your combination you're pairing together? And like last arc, it was Sarada and Ryu, aka Shinki. Yeah, I know they technically fought once in the anime, Kodachi's anime, but it's like they're not even commenting on it, just two random characters who have nothing going on together, just pairing up randomly. But to be fair, not every connection needs to be Naruto versus Gaara. Sometimes the obstacle doesn't have to be a character that's just the complete opposite, the contrast of who they are. Sometimes the conflict can just be the struggle or the threat that the character presents. I
completely agree.
Well, just I'll give you an example. Land of Waves. You're gonna call me crazy just off the bat, but so you have Naruto and Sasuke versus Haku when he has the mask on. They don't know who that is. Who that is irrelevant to them. They aren't fighting a named character. They're just fighting some masked guy. The point, though, is more about the threat of death and what that represents to them and their dreams and what that represents to both of them.
So that's getting to a point. So first of all, from Haku's perspective in the audience, but that way still applies for one.
You're not wrong.
Second, regardless if we know, Haku is saying things that mean something to both sides of the story here.
Not wrong.
Mabushi and Inojin, neither of which is doing that for each.
No, I know, but Ikimoto's not pretending like it is, whereas you're almost implying like it is here. The conflict, the obstacle, the goal of the arc was never about Mamushi. It's about the threat that Mamushi presents. It's to protect the village, to protect Ada, to protect Iwari.
That's why I said I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
Okay.
Before you move on, I also just want to point out,
though, if we're gonna pick one, off the top of my head, the most prime example of that is going to be Naruto versus Kakuzu. What do you know? Like, my least favorite fight in the whole story. But, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But, like, besides the fact that I hate that fight for different reasons, too, it is just objectively, it's the fight we care the least about.
No, I get that. But again, I feel like at no point is Ikimoto making it about Mamushi. It's entirely about. But that other thing that it is about. That's why
I said there's nothing wrong with it.
But but that right there, that still has a not positive connotation. I think the way that Ikimoto wrote what it is about, I think he did a good job.
Well, no, I disagree.
There you go. Okay, see, that's exactly where that's why I brought this up in the first place. And we could get into why probably another time.
My reasoning, though, isn't because of, like, the character pairings. It's because of the Inojin's protecting Himawari, who's not in danger aspects. But
ignoring the part where it's bad.
Well, exactly. That's why I disagree with it being a good job.
Okay. That's a different thing.
Before you move on, I also just wanted to say with, like, Sarada versus you could say that it's, like, the new gen version of because Sarada aspires to be Naruto and Yu is Gaara's son. Like, it's even though they didn't make any callbacks to that, it kind of feels like pitting them against each other was like, oh look, two like people who are one aspiring to be Hokage and the other is like the Kazekage's son or whatever. Where it's just like, it's not necessarily like there was nothing directly mentioned, but it is there.
I mean, Kamui, you're in the same boat as me to where we love this series. Believe it or not. People don't believe us, but we do. We're not haters. We're not casual viewers. We're the most die-hard core fans of all time that look into every nook and cranny of every nuance of every detail, and then we talk about it for 12 hours straight on each individual one of them. I personally never felt that interpretation. Kamui, you can give your idea. I mean, we never talked on the podcast, but did you ever have that idea regardless if you'd said it or not?
I never really viewed it that way because it didn't feel like they were trying to, because they weren't trying to do that.
Well, obviously they weren't trying to do it, but like regardless, it's about, I guess, feeling at that point of like the audience, do they feel it? Because unintended things can still play out. In fact, if the writer reacts to the audience having that, then they can reciprocate that and add it in the story after the fact, which Call of Duty Zombies does really well. But that's a different thing. What I will say, if anything, I got a lot closer to the feeling that Miss is describing between Ryu and Mitsuki. That felt a lot more like it should have been their rematch than anything between Sarada and Ryu.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What about Mitsuki, though? Like, why Mitsuki?
I guess Mitsuki at that point,
Shinky in the anime.
Yeah, it's not really about the narrative thing you were saying about Hokage-san versus wannabe Hokage. It's just more of like directly obvious rematch implications. But again, they don't point it out at all. If anything, what the story is doing, it has nothing to do with Sarada or Mitsuki at all. It's entirely about Yodo and Araya with Ryu.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the Ryu end goes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say about this point again, the bigger paragraph above it is actually kind of the bigger thing. It's to say that Mamushi, the guy invading, Ada, the target, have no development whatsoever. And instead, it's other people who aren't interested in Ada or Mamushi who are getting the development. It is just kind of odd because independent of moving Team 10 to someone like, Moegi, for example, it's more the Mamushi, it's more the Ada had no development in relation to this arc. It's more the point of this.
Well, ignoring the Ada part, I agree that the wonking, the writing was very wonky. But I do appreciate that I do feel like, in the end, we did get there. I don't understand how, but it feels like we got there.
I agree. In terms of, I honestly don't have much of a complaint about Inojin in this arc. Honestly, I'm fine with most, if not all of it. Maybe I'm not going to say all because it's going to be some weird random things that we're going to make fun of, but for the most part, I'm fine with the Inojin. I feel like it's just every other character that I've got a problem with.
Well,
I'm fine with Kobu too.
Well, I don't understand how the development happened, but I think it did happen to the degree that it was supposed to happen. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to pretend like it does, or that I understand it at all. But it feels like it was there.
I'm not going to say I don't understand it.
I will.
I'm not going to fully say it doesn't make sense.
I will.
I'm going to say there's elements that don't make sense. I'll be a little bit more pro Ikimoto when it comes to Inojin here. But that's pretty much the only thing I'm going to say.
Well, Kamui. So that means you support Inojin saying he's only here for Konoha and Himawari and defending neither of them.
Most Inojin things and not all.
Okay.
But so I really stayed like an hour and 15 minutes
45
later.
minutes.
Well, technically 2.5 hours, but really an hour and 15 minutes later. So I should leave at the very least.
Well, there is definitely
I should also probably do things because I have homework that I have to do by tomorrow. So
real quick. Okay, we'll end on this just because this will take 2 seconds and it's hilarious. And I pulled this up when Miss.
Bro, literally, hold on. I have something for you.
Go ahead.
It's on my other phone.
Okay, it got way less votes, but still pretty good.
Yeah, so okay, I wanted to point that out. So I'm not going to say this is a timing thing or luck thing. This is consistent. 12K the very next day. This got more votes than this one within minutes. Less than an hour. Minutes. The next poll got more votes. It's not that people didn't see it. It's not that notifications didn't go out. It's consistent. Every one of these polls has thousands of votes. This is the only one that has less than even my other channel that I shared just that had like 0 votes on got over 1,000. Every single one. Okay, except for that one, but you know, like every single one of these has like 1,000 to like 10,000 votes on them on average. 3K, 4K, 5K, whatever. This one has 400. Bro, that's more weird than if everyone voted yes. Because that tells me there's thousands of people who read this and chose not to vote. What does that say about them? That they couldn't.
Yeah, that's
vote
questionable.
that's more questionable than anything.
Realistically, they didn't care. Well, actually,
if anything, that proves the point more than anything.
Like our other weird random polls that aren't like Boruto or Naruto.
Yeah, because I feel like people didn't vote because they don't know who I am. I read the comments and they were like, "Who even is she?"
I know, that was the hilarious thing. I wanted to, because I wrote some of them down in the comments first tab. Kamui, you might as well save for these because these are just funny and fun and it will only take 5 minutes anyways. So, Miss Anne, as a man of the male species, are you in love with Miss Anne? So, one of the comments here, Salad and Bolts, my man, what are these things? Well, my man, Miss Anne, what are these things? My man.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Man, you don't know, man?
But you know who I bet knows? The guy who sent that long message.
Oh my god, okay. I didn't think you'd even bring that up live. Well, I'm not going to bring that up. Well, Miss Anne,
I'm not gonna elaborate, but
maybe El Charo Grow Gaming knows. So, Miss Anne, Sarada's Mangekyo Awakening is, you know, maybe you'll appreciate reading this one instead of me.
Quit complaining. It's not country cartoon, and just watch the show.
So, Miss Anne, when it comes to this comment on the poll of Sarada's Mangekyo Awakening is, what do you think about that comment?
I mean, obviously the English is a little iffy, but I was just gonna say it's probably just somebody being like, it's not your country's cartoon, it's not your culture, just shut up and watch the show, basically, instead of complaining about, you know, like, whether or not it's good or bad, like, just let it be its own thing, which there's a lot of people's opinion in Japan as well, of, like, why foreigners are so, like, I saw a video came up in my recommended the other day where, Masha Samurai is, like, this guy that does, English videos for like telling people about like American people or whoever foreign people about Japanese culture. He was like, he showed his little sister my anime list. He's like, the people in the West have like a system where they rank anime based on, and she's like, hey, like it's just like a big like, oh, what's going on? Why do they have that? Like, so like that comes as a culture shock to Japanese people. So it's like people are just not taking it as seriously, nearly as seriously as people in the West take it.
You know, I'm getting a culture shock here too. Kamui, maybe you are as well. Kamui, what do you think their vibes are with country cartoons as opposed to other type of cartoons?
Well, so that's the thing though. Like, okay, so ignoring the the English that makes it a badly negative written thing. We're gonna get to that after, but
yeah,
the country cartoon.
Yeah.
See, the way I was thinking, the country cartoon just sounds like, oh, it's just a rinky-dink country bumpkin cartoon. It's not meant to be deep. It's just meant to be a good old knee slapper country cartoon. Okay, so the problem is he wrote it. It's not country
exactly,
cartoon.
exactly.
So if it was a country cartoon, I would think just watch the show. But he clarified it's not a country cartoon.
So it's either he's saying it's bad and it doesn't matter, or it's good, implying is it an anime or is it a cartoon? I don't know which one country cartoon leads towards.
Is it a country cartoon and we shouldn't care, or it's not a country cartoon and for some reason we still shouldn't care? Why does it matter if it's a country cartoon or not then?
I don't know. I also love how they say just watch the show when it's not adapted into the show yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we're not.
Maybe that's like why they don't want us to complain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they don't want us to complain. It's not an anime complaint. They think it is. I love it. Yeah. Some more here. I think I need to delete this one. I can only delete that one as well.
Wow. How many more?
There's only a couple more. There's only a couple. This one has Cam, but we'll do this one as well. Okay, so are you in love with Miss Anne? Miss Anne.
Sorry, I was muted. I forgot I was trying to like make myself a yogurt parfait, but what an odd thing to say. Let's not normalize hating on Sakura. She represents feminism for me. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm curious how we hated on Sakura, Miss Anne, if you could clarify.
They must hate me and therefore think that you guys related me to Sakura, and because of the kind of person I am, that they were offended that you put Sakura as on the poll to represent me.
Well, specifically because it represents feminism for them.
Yeah, feminism.
Yes, as opposed to feminism. I think this is why, Kamui, I don't think they realize what Miss Anne Salad Bolts is, and they're just seeing it.
Yeah,
as
that's because
Sakura.
our poll community is not the same as our stream community.
I was gonna say, a lot of times, like, YouTube polls and stuff show up for people who aren't even subscribed. They're just, like, randomly scrolling through YouTube polls.
I know, I really wish we got paid for these polls, because we'd have a lot of money.
You're not wrong. But Kamui, even, like, if you weren't a walkie-talkie viewer, and you don't know who Miss Anne or Salad and Bolts is, if you saw this poll, and it says, as ridiculous as it is, as a man of the male species, are you in love with? And then it continues by saying Miss Anne, Salad and Bolts, and parentheses, clarifying who Miss Anne is. And then you see, like, are you going to think it's Sakura, or are you going to think it's someone you don't know?
Exactly. It's clearly Salad and Bolts. The first to be clarified.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's just weird. I'm going to leave that one for Cam. Here's another one. So we translated Sarda's Doubts. This is a fun video, if you guys remember that one. So we have Patrick Torres here.
Oh wait, is that the guy that I just... Hold up. Check chat really quick and see if the username matches that guy.
Okay.
Oh my god, Patrick Torres is like, oh, he's infamous with us.
He's our number one hater.
Okay, never mind. It's not the same guy.
It's Patrick. Yeah, pretty similar. I love you.
Well,
this was a comment I got this morning.
This guy definitely voted on the poll.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh my god.
Well, we know he can't even stand it.
Maybe this is his alt account. Yeah, okay, please reply back to this person. Can you stand it?
Oh my god.
No, say, but can you stand it?
Oh, yes. Well, Patrick Torres over here, you know, Miss Anne sympathizing with the enemy. So Patrick says, feel bad for the girl. So Miss Anne, how do you feel that you're being talked down to? That's all you are to him. Just a girl.
I don't really care. People can talk to me however they want. Except for, anyway.
Having to...
Well, Mister, you probably should be encouraging that.
No, that's not what I meant.
Especially after recent developments.
I don't mind being told.
However they want, though.
No, we're going to take that part back. We're going to cut that.
Well,
we're going to make that into its own clip.
Oh my gosh.
You've had to deal with us guys on this subject.
Considering 90% of the groups of, like, things that I am in, whether it's computer science or percussion or whatever, is almost always 100% guys, I don't really mind at all.
Well, again, you're taking this as sympathy. So Miss Anne, do you feel like you've been sympathized to? AKA there was something to have been done to you to feel sympathy towards?
Not from you guys, but if he replaced
to clarify, he is specifying us guys in particular.
I was making a joke. I was just Yeah, no, I don't actually feel like I have been
Right,
harmed
so-
in any way.
Well, Patrick Torres, what do you feel about that one? Yeah, so I
On
feel
this
bad for
subject in
Patrick
particular.
Torres for being stupid.
See, like, if it was like one of Mello's like lady conversations, I can understand. But Sarada Stout, oh, why does that matter?
Exactly. Yeah, well, now that we've officially called Miss And out on her nonsense, I think that was the last
Oh my
Miss And
gosh.
one. Well, there technically is another one, but Kamui, I think that's a little bit different of a one here. But yeah. So
I got a
maybe.
comment on my most recent video to make a Kawaki and Sumire video, so I'm attempting. Somebody also sent me a DM and was like, "Oh, did Konohamaru really say this?" And I noticed it kind of low-key looks like Kawaki is jealous in that chapter. And I was like, "Bruh, how did I not notice this before?" But anyway,
I'd be curious what you're talking about. I will say real quick, I know I said I should go, and I technically can't go at any time, but because I'm currently going to be using my hands to cook something, I realized I can't actually do my homework. I did not think that through, so I technically can't wait another, like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. But seriously, I do not let me keep delaying that.
Okay, well, if you say so, I guess we'll keep going. I was switching away from comments first, but I guess we're going back. So
You
Miss
can
And.
just switch away from it. Just do a short topic. Or we can always just endlessly extend the Ishiki topic.
We could, but it's gonna take time to get there as well. I don't know where it is to start. We'll make that its own dedicated.
It's not very
space,
hard.
which
It's not very hard.
should
All you
have
gotta do
been
is look for my paragraphs.
I mean, to be fair, you said 5 minutes, so
yeah, I don't think we can even start another topic. It's gonna take us another hour to get through anything that you try to start.
like we have 2 comment first things for Miss Anfear. That's all the last ones we have. But
Just
if you
Sarada,
want,
really zoomed in. Just Sarada.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So Miss Ann, start with this one. So Sitharth Baulu 4278 had a question for you. Miss Ann, what was the question? I think that you'd be the best at reading this.
I wonder what Miss Anne would think of Kawaki and Sumire being together.
Let me just stop you right there. It's not
Oh,
what Miss Ann.
I know what you're
would
gonna
say.
talk about.
So if you want to start that again, take it from the
My
top.
bad. I wonder what Mrs. Anne would think of Kawaki and Sumire being together, since it feels like something that could happen, and while the anime has handled not reading that word pretty well, the manga hasn't as much.
Well, Miss Ann, I have a question for you. Clearly you were keeping it a secret from us, but like, when did the wedding happen? I mean,
God, I'm so glad we're on the same page.
yeah.
I think Blanco asked
Who is
about
he?
this as well.
That's the most important thing here. Oh, careful, Miss Ann. You don't want to mention Blanco. He's gonna get all flustered again. He's probably blushing right now. Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
Now that you said his name.
No, I am not married. I would just like to clarify. I was going to make some sort of joke about who or what I was married to, but I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. I remember posting a picture of Valentine's
I could think
Day.
of something that you would not like.
Yeah, no.
Cockroach.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah,
we're
go
gonna
on.
move on from that. I posted a picture on Valentine's Day of me sitting with my 3DS and being like, my husband.
Oh my god.
Oh, so that's who the Mister is.
Yeah, well,
Yep, it's my gaming consoles.
okay. Well, I'm glad we got the Mr. And clarified. That got that solidified. So, I guess the next thing is, to be fair, Miss Ann, I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that this was probably a typo and that they didn't mean to type that word and that they probably meant to just say it rather than the additional T at the beginning. Considering the context of the sentence and how it would literally make 0 sense otherwise and how it makes perfect sense if it's the word it instead. But I can see how you came to your conclusion.
Yeah.
But assuming it is the word it, how does that change your interpretation of the question?
Oh, it's completely different. This is just a Viz translation. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, Viz wrote this. They screwed it up. It feels like something that could happen. Well, the anime handled it pretty well. The manga hasn't as much.
To clarify, I'm not giving him benefit of the doubt twice. It's it pretty well.
Oh, I didn't even notice that it was spelled. Bro. Anyway. Is that... Oh, it's 2 T's, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You notice how much I probably use spell check as I'm writing my posts. But anyway. Yeah, so I guess to answer their actual question that was happening here, the manga still has handled it in a way, but it just hasn't given it as much elaboration because Sumire doesn't have Nue, so they can't like tie into all the weapon stuff and the born raised as a weapon and had abusive dads and blah blah, because they haven't gone into Sumire's backstory. Sumire isn't a fleshed out character in the manga, so obviously they can't show as much, but they do still show a lot of scenes of like Kawaki looking at her, Kawaki calling her by name. He's the only one to do that before Delta shows up. Because Ada doesn't do that. None of Boruto's classmates do that. Naruto, I don't think, calls her by anything ever in the manga, although I could be wrong. So like most of her developments as well are with Kawaki's. She's in the room for like all of Kawaki's significant stuff, and right in that scene in 73. Where chapter 73 that I was just looking at yesterday, he thinks of like Sumire's there, and he recalls like her being like, "Oh, I'm sure you could have had your own circumstances," to like her reaction to Kawaki saying that he killed Boruto, and just being like, "Oh, it's fine. You probably were going through some stuff." Like everybody always uses that to be like, "And how does Sumire like Boruto exactly?" When this is her reaction, but he was thinking he had a flashback to that scene, and then like. Sumire is like all blushy in front of Boruto, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Boruto-kun, long time no see." And Boruto's like, "Oh, hey, Prez, whatever." And then there's like a scene of like him smiling while Sarada's like kind of scolding him with like no words. And then Kawaki like looks, and then there's the smile, and then he looks again, like a more zoomed in of his face looking at Sumire, and it's like, what's going on here? What are they actually trying to show here? But anyway.
Well, just as a small correction, Sumire does have Nue in Kodachi's manga.
Yeah, I mean, it's in her profile.
In her profile, but we all know that hasn't been elaborated on at all.
Well,
so
okay. I'm glad you're saying that because, well, this is something that Kamui and I love to say to each other. But Miss Anne, I never want to hear you say ever again how the whole story is everything in the Boruto franchise rather than specifically the manga, based on that interpretation.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Well, this isn't me saying that. That would be more so me saying it for Kamui's sake, for when we get to the Kamui's future Sarada main character topic thing that you both hate each other about, but we'll get to that another time.
Oh, well, I was also, I mean, no, I'm not going to bring that up now because it's just going to go into a long
exactly.
thing.
But Kamui, I said it for you, so just remember that for next time.
I also wasn't taking part into it at all.
Penetration jutsu.
Miss Anne has zero context for that, which arguably makes it even funnier.
Bruh.
Just know that it's canon.
We're so stupid. Okay, well, I'm glad that we answered that one. Miss Anne, I'm sure you'll have just as much depth here, but Sarada. Full stop. What's your response before we go any further? This is sort of about you. Clearly.
I mean, Sarada means salad in Japanese. Shiza Sarada is literally Caesar salad. There's Guardian Sarada is Guardian salad.
Real quick. I'm glad that you clarified that. So, how do you specify salad when it's not a Caesar salad? If it's specifically Caesar salad?
It's just Sarada because there's also like Sarada Aji, which is like Sarada flavor, salad flavor. Sorry, not Sarada flavor.
Well, could you do like Sarada Nai for like no Caesar for the salad?
Huh? What do you mean?
or like
no salad for no
sarada
Caesar?
for like salad. Or I guess sarada to sarada nai for salad without the Caesar salad.
if you're trying to just have a salad without Caesar, then it's just sarada. But you usually specify the type of salad it is because you don't usually just say like, "Oh, I'm going to have a salad," because salads can be many kinds of salads. There's like potato salad and macaroni salad
And Caesar salad.
which are both at the convenience store.
Which
and
is
Caesar
apparently just
salad.
sarada. You know, same as salad.
No,
Sarada.
Caesar salad is shiza sarada. I said that.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Maybe I heard you wrong.
That's where the confusion was happening, I see.
Yeah. Well,
There you go. That's my interpretation of that.
I guess to just
I translated it for you.
to expand on the idea, though,
Where's your title?
Sarada. Oh my god. Kamui, would you like to read this one?
Sarada X Borbo is Xanon.
Masan, what's
Well,
your
I don't know who
response?
Borbo is, but I definitely don't ship him with Sarda. How dare they?
Well, Borbo's taking Boruto's man away. That's what I know.
Boruto's man?
I can't wait to see how
it's one of those.
it
It's
fleshes out.
50-50 shot into gender. I mean, hey, who are you to tell Sarada who she can and can't be?
Oh my gosh.
Well, to be fair, it's only Xanon, so that does change things. You know, it's not
It does.
filler or canon. Something else.
Was this greater than canon or less than canon?
Well, it's got an X, so maybe it means not canon.
Low-key, I could
You could
totally
be on-
see that's just like genuinely what it is, and we just don't know that, and are just memeing it without realizing.
That's really low key. That worked.
Because I feel like I do see this decent amount. But anyways, we have a part 2 to this whole message here. Oh my god, Kami, you have to keep going. You started it, you gotta
Oh my
end it.
gosh.
So, but Rap Dan says, I bait Bordo cast. The cast is meh. Chocho eats. Shuriken. Shiruken is laid. Inojin likes drawing. Sarada is decent. Metal Lee is Lee. Bye beautifuls. Or beautifuls.
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 So, Miss Anne, now that he's clarified what he meant, how's that changed your interpretation?
Well, clearly he likes the Boruto cast. He just hates the Boruto cast.
Oh, he baits it.
Yeah, the Boruto cast, not the Boruto cast, but the Boruto cast is meh.
Yeah. He's been
So
baited
completely
by
different anime. We don't have to worry about that. Now we start talking about Boruto characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Chocho eats.
Shiruken.
So, in order to make her better, this person is clearly stating that Chocho should not eat and therefore die. Therefore, he is a Chocho hater.
Yeah, and then, Shuriken, the thing that, well, it's not the thing that Tento threw, but it's almost the thing that Tento threw.
Yeah, because he's a Shiruken.
The Shiruken is Lay's. So
To be
he's
fair,
talking about some kind of potato chips.
To be fair, I think they say,
Lay's
like, the
potato
demon
chips.
wind Shuriken kind of like that sometimes, right?
Shuriken. I don't know, man.
Do they?
Oh wait, that's
Just
not
the
right
concept
spelling.
of laziness.
is Lay's like the potato chip Lay's?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, but I don't think it's the right spelling, is it?
No.
It's not. That would be like Lays.
Darn. I have to come up with something else for that. I don't know. I don't know what I can come up with for
Like
that.
the concept of laziness.
That's what I think. That's what Shiruken are.
Is,
The concept of laziness.
I wanted to
Shuriken.
say.
So now we can just use the word Shiruken in place of the concept of laziness, I guess, is new word of definition vocabulary there. Thank you for teaching me
Exactly.
English,
He says
Boros.
it is,
Interchangeable.
and if Sage of Thick Calves is anything to go on, that means it's a fact.
Inojin with a lowercase I likes drawing. So yeah, I mean he does like drawing. That's correct. Sarda is decent. That's
Why
also
did
correct.
he
She
even
is
throw
decent.
that in there just as a pause? He doesn't end with that. It's in the middle of bashing every other character who he baits.
I mean, let's let's get this correct there. He's not talking about hating Boruto characters. He's talking about hating. He's baiting.
Oh.
He's baiting Boruto characters.
That's fair.
Boruto.
That's fair.
Boruto.
Give me that.
Metal Lee is Lee.
Why would that be? If anything, that's a good thing. Does he hate Lee? No, I know he's saying it's a clone.
I guess he's talking about the last name.
But still.
Love Inojin like dry.
Or is he talking about? Oh wait, no, that's a lie. Darn.
What?
I was gonna say Lee Kun from Cardcaptor Sakura, but that doesn't apply. I'm trying to think of another Lee in anime. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, well, from the Boruto cast.
Well, but it's
I know.
Clearly from the Boruto cast, not from the Boruto cast.
You should look up Boruto, just Boruto like that, and see what comes up.
Here, I'm gonna do first. I'm just gonna do Boruto and see what happens. Oh, okay. World of Warcraft. Alex, let's get Alex on the podcast.
Boruto anime.
Oh, that's obviously gonna pull a Boruto. Okay, what exactly did he say? Boruto cast.
Yeah. And then after trying to bait Boruto cast.
The Borat cast.
Yeah, we got something. Borat. I love it. Borat. Bro, okay.
Boruto cast.
I'm adding this to our movie watch list.
Yeah, okay, I'm down.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I know there's a sequel to this. I guess last thing I want to say on this, I love how he just randomly coming in and saying this. He's listing like 3 negatives in a row and then just buy beautiful. It's like, why would he add that after all of this? I don't understand.
Buy beautifuls. I mean, he must be calling Sarah beautiful because
it's
that
lower,
translates.
Movies are way lower.
I don't know where anything is.
There you are. We need Camp for that one.
Yes. In fact, I'll even write it down. Okay.
Also, sorry if you can hear the crunching noises. I'm trying to be quiet, but I don't think it's working.
Well, to be fair, I think 5 minutes has passed, hasn't it, Kamui?
Yeah, I feel like. Well, I mean, technically, it could be another
no,
one too.
You said not to let you do this.
Yes, I know. I think now's a good time to stop.
Okay. I mean, if you're now saying otherwise, but no, you said not to.
I'll be smart because I gotta eat, and I'm gonna be on crunch time tomorrow, as it is realistically. Because I don't know if I'm gonna do much more tonight at this point.
Well, to be fair, Kamui, I know you said you did the first half, but there's no saying how much more intensive the second half is in comparison to the first half. Like, it's fair to say it's likely going to be the same, but for us all, you've done like 1/10 of the course.
No, I'll actually move quicker tomorrow than I did today. Realistically, it's really just a matter of how much time I spend on my final presentation project. Depending how much time I spend on that, it's really going to dictate how long everything takes.
What class is it?
Biochemistry.
Oh.
Fun.
I've never taken that. I never took chemistry at all.
Well, when I looked up at the course for people online, it's not recommended to do what I'm doing.
Well,
most people talk about how hard it is and everything. Now it's really hard to get 100 on these tests. Now, mind you, I've done very well.
Well, to be fair, Miss Ann, maybe you have taken. Maybe you're just misunderstanding what it is, because we're not saying it in the Japanesey kind of way. So, Miss Ann, have you ever taken chemistry?
Biochemistry or biochemistry to do.
No. Oh, I don't even remember what it's called. Oh my gosh. Hold on 1 second.
What, chemistry?
No, it's not biochemistry.
It's definitely not that. No, it's an actual Japanese word.
It's 100% not that. It's something Gaku. I just don't remember what the thing before the Gaku is.
Yeah. I should know this as well, considering it's on Duolingo and I've seen this word 1,000 times as well. So.
Is it really just freaking Kagaku? But
isn't that just science?
違うでしょ?
No, that should be wrong.
Yeah, it says Kagaku on Jisho, but that would mean the Kagaku Ninguhan is the chemistry school's division.
No, that's got to be wrong because, as an example, like physical science, or like even here, I'll even like do
Mitsurigaku is
geology.
physical science, and then
Yeah, like it has its own thing here.
Kagaku
Biology
Jikken.
has one as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So chemistry,
it's
it's definitely...
Seibutsugaku. And then Bitsurigaku is like physics, and then
Okay, so what is it? What's it? Thinking. Okay,
just says Kakaku.
but it's got to have another one. You just
Other forms Hakigaku. But I was wondering why I was like confused because there should be.
What about this?
I felt like I heard you say Hikaku and like Hikaku Uchiha.
You
Is
said
that what I heard?
Kakaku? Shigadesho. That's a different kind of chemistry.
Oh, I mean, is normal chemistry inorganic?
Wait, hold on.
Kamui?
Is it like the chemistry between Miss Anne and her followers?
No, that
Oh my
one
God.
is...
No, that's a
Haisho.
different thing.
It's
What did they say?
biochemistry.
There's synthetic organic chemistry. Now you're gonna be crazy.
Oh, maybe you guys were right. They're saying it's on the internet. Oh no, that's in American English.
Rikagaku?
Hold on.
Chemistry?
As subject in.
Nuclear chemistry. Kakukai.
I was gonna say, no way my nonsense was right.
Okay, so Rigaku is science, right? And then, but then why would Kagaku? Because I guess it's the science for like changing things. So like Kagaku with the Shinka. But because Kagaku is the general term for science. Oh, it's with a different kanji. Okay, that makes more sense.
That's what I figured.
Okay, yeah, that checks out. I was like, wait, what?
This exists as well. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
That also checks out as to why I didn't recognize that it had its own unique name and thought that I never heard it before. It's ridiculous. Obviously, people have definitely said it around me. I just didn't recognize it as being specifically chemistry.
Well, now that Kamui's proven you wrong.
Yeah, not that I've proven that I know more Japanese than you.
Yep, apparently.
Okay.
Bruh.
Well, Kamui. Now that we've done our outroductory topics.
Yeah, I guess Miss Anne can do the honors and say the proper walkie-talkie outro.
The magic words, if you will.
Surely you know them by now.
I do, but this is only like you've only done that. You've only made me do this for one stream, and it was the first stream, and all the other streams I refused.
Well, Miss Anne, what if you say it in Japanese, and Oodie being the Japanese?
That's actually what she did on the first stream.
Yep, that's what I did.
Well,
why not bring it full circle?
Miss Anne just said "yada," which, if you say that really quick in English, it sounds like "yeah, I'll do it." So, I think that's what she meant. So, Miss Anne, since you're so enthusiastically eager about it, why don't you go ahead, take it away?
I'll say my thing, and you can translate it in your creative translation interpretive way. でもなんか池本先生はそんなに悪くないよって言いたいんだけど、その翻訳とすれば多分私言ったこととは完全に違うんだけど、まあどうぞ。
I heard a lot of double negatives in there. She was saying she can't believe how bad it... Miss Anne, I can't repeat that live. Oh, you're trying to get a channel taken down. I'm going to have to cut that out. Oh.
Yeah, so
that was great.
Here's what she did. I'll translate. She had a conversation with herself pretending to be two people. The first person said, Ikimoto's good. And then she said, no. Ikimoto is very bad.
Okay, let's end stream before people start calling us racist.
Actually, no, Oodie, she said, Are you
mad at Jaeger?
I can do a lot.
Are you going to do that happening now?
Oh my gosh.
We're on the same page. I demanded Jaeger. I can't do it without laughing.
Raina, this was all your fault.
まあ、この二人のレシストを無視して。
Bro, does that need to become our new outro? Do we need to play that at the end of every show? I'm down.
Oh my gosh.